He thought he was in control. How wrong he was.
Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club.
From the deepest corner of the darkest universe, two brave hosts battle through nameless hordes of ghoulish monsters most foul, all to bring you the eternal glory of the Dark Side Drive-In.
It's the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club.
Hey, what's up? It's Shane with Farview Studios. I'm joined here with Stefan.
Greetings.
And you are tuning into the Dark Side Drive-In, which is our horror-themed podcast where we cover movies from 70s, 90s. This time, all 80s. Last time it was like 80s and 90s. This time, back to the 80s, baby. Back to where it feels good. Well,
actually,
we'll
get there. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. But I know you all are dying to hear what we're getting into, but first I have to make amends. I have made two mistakes. One you have heard and I have corrected, and the other you would, by the time this releases, would have already heard, but not from us recording. So the first one, when editing, I missed, we took a very timely bathroom break, and I left it in, and then we basically rambled about video games for 5 minutes, which we didn't say anything bad or anything, but it wasn't on point, and it was supposed to be cut out anyways. So if you saw a weird download pattern for the Winter Beast episode, I had to shave about 3 to 4 minutes off of us just talking about stupid stuff. And then, so the second thing is so we have the new software, and it's great. We love it. Makes editing easy. We were piloting doing the music live, so both of us could hear. Like I did the clapping thing, like this. So you heard that, right? So I queued up music, and I queued up a bunch of other things, and unfortunately, even at like a low volume on the mixer, it was so loud that it drowned out the game. So I had to remove the game from the church episode. So you won't hear that game or that question, and you never will. So yeah, that's.
I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. So like, I'll never know either.
It was what was the highest grossing horror film?
Oh, I got it wrong too. So I'm actually okay that it didn't get on. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, now it did.
No, they'll never know that I got it wrong.
They'll never know.
Who's going to tell them?
You can guess, and you can send it to us, and I'll tell you if you're right or not. Yeah. So, but enough of that. Stefan, you know what time of year it is?
Yeah, I do. And I really appreciate that awesome segue. But I'm actually going to back up because I need to cover some business. Friend of the show, Eric.
Oh yeah.
Watched Winter Beast, and he thinks that Death Ship is better than Winter Beast. What a terrible opinion. That's just an incorrect opinion. Winter Beast has all kinds of crazy stop motion creatures. Death Ship has pistons. What are we doing here? What is even we doing?
I feel like Winter Beast is exactly the movie that everyone's here to watch, and Death Ship is like the WQED daytime movie version of what horror should be. Like, I mean, it's a racist ship. Like, I mean, I can't go on much more. Like, there's literally there's nothing. Like, it's pistons and a weird captain. So I don't know,
We-
Eric. After all the shit you gave us for not releasing Winter Beast in a timely fashion, which again I've owned up to, I find it crazy that you would pick Death Ship over Winter Beast. So
Yeah, so fans, go if you whenever you hear this, you can go to our what was it? Is that in the fan page? That's in the Dark Side Drive.
no, he
fan
just
page?
straight up tagged us personally.
Oh, did he tag us personally?
Yeah, he
I thought that
threatened
he-
us. He threatened us in open, like.
Well, I
in
thought
public.
that no, he told us about when the movie was going to come out, like just
Oh,
on
yeah.
Facebook. But when you did the post in
Oh,
our
that was
Dark Side
on-
Drive-In,
I called
then
him
I
out,
shared
yeah.
it. Then I shared it to the Dark Side Drive-In fan page. That way we could like cross pollinate between
Yeah.
our official page and our fan page because we clearly have enough fans to
Sure.
merit both. So then you tagged him in that, and then that's when he revealed this like bombshell that he prefers Death Ship. I'm like, I can't believe this is insane. So.
That's
I just
wild.
I need to get that off my chest, and I'm still upset about it. The wound is fresh.
Speaking of fan pages, we picked up some new listeners, so thank you. A couple of my friends that I interact with online found out that we did a podcast, and I sent them the link. So appreciate you all jumping on board. It's a huge help to us if you share with your friends. The reviews help us a lot too, mainly because it lets us know that we're doing okay. But it also puts us in the search algorithm because our show is rated explicit. So we will not show up in a lot of searches due to that. And mainly my fault because I have trouble not swearing. Stefan does a pretty good job. So maybe we tone it down a bit. And but I will say, though, like even if we mark it non-explicit or whatever, the subject matter that we talk about would catch it, and we would get in trouble. So
It's actually kind of funny because the reason I avoid sharing or swearing is because my mom scolds me for it. Even though I am like 30 or 40 years old, like I can say what I want, but I just like I don't want to deal with it, so I try to avoid it if I can help it.
makes sense.
But anyways, but back to what you had originally teed me up on, which was what time of year is this? Well, Shane, we are currently in the midst of a heat wave. The audience doesn't know this, but we can see each other on camera now to help us kind of work the flow. And my face is increasingly reddening because I turned off my air conditioner. I'm roasting. We've been recording for what, like 6 minutes?
6 minutes, dude.
Yeah, I'm already cooking. So this is going to be a fun one for me.
We might have to take a break. This might be a two-parter.
Yeah, I have to like take a break just to like sit in front of like my AC, just have a blast in my face. But so that tells you it is summer, and the summer is time for the Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon. One of our most popular blocks, I would say.
Sure.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell like what is popular for our stuff, but we seem to get a lot of social media engagement from it. But we also
We do.
try to engage more on social media.
That is also true. I don't think there's any correlation, honestly, but yeah.
We're basically pulling the Michael Crichton's book Jurassic Park when it's like you look for the numbers that you expect and instead look for the numbers that are there. No, we don't do that. We have good scientific methodology here, so we probably have tons of loose dinosaurs in our house. But yeah, so the Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon is when during the most slashiest time of year, which is summer. We decide that we're going to watch 3 slasher movies. It's been probably one of our best events for finding hidden gems, I would say.
I agree.
Yeah, like
Did we accomplish that today?
You'll be the judge. We'll find out. At the end, I will say, for those who haven't watched it and you're contemplating if you're going to watch it, it's not going to be what you expect. Let me tell you that. I kind of hinted towards this earlier, but so our movie for the first. Okay, hold on. Let me try that again. The first. I know you're not going to cut that because we're not doing that anymore. So you're just going to.
I can do
roll
that.
into. No. It's important for people to see how I actually work when you're not like correcting everything that I do wrong. They have to see this for what it is. How my mind actually works. So, Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon Part 1. 2025, The Prey. So yeah, we're doing a movie called The Prey, released in 1983. But as I hinted before, it actually was filmed mostly from 1979 then into 1980. So if there's a very distinctly 70s vibe from this, which there is, that would be why. So yeah, the Prey is available right now on Tubi. It doesn't show any signs it's going to go away. And an interesting thing about this movie is there's a lot of what you might call filler material.
Filler.
A lot of footage of wildlife intercut during otherwise plot-related moments, or sometimes just apropos of nothing. One of my favorite things is I read online that the cut that has all the animal stuff in it, the one that's on Tubi, is like a cool 80 minutes, right? In and out, 80-minute adventure, easy. There's apparently a longer cut that also simultaneously cuts out most of the animal scenes, and I'm like, how?
How's it longer?
Yeah, there's an entire opening section about an incident that we will get into during the plot description, which is
that would have helped the story tremendously.
But you didn't like the way they did it, which was just having stuff on fire and people screaming and didn't tell you anything. That's much better that way.
And folks, if you're wondering, what do you mean by like a bunch of animal shots? This is essentially if a National Geographic show from the late 70s just had murdering in it. It's the shots that they did of these animals. They're actually impressive. So let's start there. They did a great job filming the animals. So,
yes, they did do a great job filming the animals. And in fact, I would go even further to say that some of the animal shots are in fact thematically linked to what's going on screen otherwise. There are plenty of shots that either are responding to what's going on or a thematic reflection of what's going on. How much footage they had to get of animals in order to make that.
There's one that isn't.
I mean, some of them are there just for the fun of it. Obviously, I think some of them they're just having a good time.
Yeah,
but other ones are thematically linked, and I won't hear otherwise. And then probably we'll get into this during the cast and crew. But this is also this is the final film of one of the more famous actors of the golden age of Hollywood. He was a child actor who worked with Charlie Chaplin, Jackie Coogan. So what an interesting final credit for this man. When we get into it, you'll hear more about what he's been in, but he's well known. So yeah, excellent. So there you go. We introduced the movie. We introduced the concept of the Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon. We're really cooking with gas, which I would rather we didn't, since it's increasingly going over 80 degrees in my apartment as we speak.
Well, then we should move post haste into everybody's favorite segment. The reason they're here, we can tell because they just stopped listening after this moment. But we are heading straight for the creepy questionnaire. Insert really cool music while we talk. Fun elevator music, maybe. I don't know. But
are you late? Are you doing that right now? Because I can't hear what you're doing.
No, I'm not playing music right now. For some reason, the soundboard's not working for Stefan, but I don't have time to figure out why not. But anyways, so Stefan.
Yes.
I've got a pretty good question, and then I've got a really important question. So I think I'm going to start with the important one.
Okay, yeah.
Are you ready?
Why, I'd say I'm the readiest I've ever been.
Insert dramatic music. Regis. In the 1980 film, The Fog, what is the cause of the deadly fog that envelops the town of Antonio Bay?
Oh, wasn't it a bunch of sailors who were betrayed by the townspeople coming to get their revenge?
Okay. That's a great answer.
Yeah, because I seem to remember that, I don't know if they had hidden they hid their gold in the local church or something, and then the townspeople betrayed the sailors and murdered them all. Something like that.
Okay. Well, folks, you're going to have to tune in next time to see if we stump the man, the myth, the legend, Stefan himself. Well, I know that...
Did you ever see the remake of The Fog, by the way?
I didn't like it. I didn't watch it all the way through.
It was okay.
Yeah.
There are worse remakes.
Sure. Firestarter.
Ooh, low-hanging fruit. Ironically, though, also John Carpenter's score, and also still a banger score. Like, because like
Sure.
Firestarter, the movie, like I went to see it in theaters. I remember coming out and be like, man, this music though. And then I found out it was like, you know, or John Carpenter. Did I say John Carter?
No, you said Carter.
I guess we'll find out. John Carter is a man on Mars fighting against.
That's a good movie.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of the books, but yeah, there's a movie too.
Yeah,
I suppose. Edgar Rice Burroughs would be ashamed of you. But the director of Wall-E would be happy you remembered him, his work.
That's how we roll here. Well, I can tell you're heating up over there, so I think we should move post haste into who's actually in this just summer romp.
It is a summer romp. They're
It
camping.
is a summer romp.
So yeah, all right. The Prey cast
Hey, you know what
and
they say
crew.
about camping, right?
What?
You know what they say about camping, right?
No.
It's fucking intense.
Was that worth stopping me for it to do that bit? Do you feel good about it? Do you feel like it was?
I mean, I kind of
a
feel
lot.
good. I feel good about it a little bit.
Okay. As always with a lot of these movies, there's a lot of cross-pollination across different people who are involved. So you're going to hear a lot of the same names brought up over and over again. They're not always names you've heard of, but they are names that I'm going to bring up because it kind of brings it all together. So let's kick it off. The Prey. The director and also a co-writer is Edwin Brown. Says here it's mostly porn.
Yeah, and
a lot of porn.
You can tell from the shots that they did.
Well, I will say this isn't a very smutty movie if that's what you're driving at. But there's a lot of male gaze, like sexual, like sort of sexual, somewhat sexual gaze. But I would argue that this isn't as like quote unquote smutty as some of these.
There's no exploitation or anything like that, but you can tell like how they shoot the scenes. That's their strong suit. Like there's a kissing scene that it's just like it's like they directed it way too well and it's way too close. It's like what the fuck?
And it goes on too long too.
It's so long.
In my opinion. And a movie that, again, not a lot of other. Wouldn't it be funny if the porn that they do, they'd also cut to animals?
Yeah, right.
Like,
I kind of don't want to watch any, but we might have to, dude, just for science.
Are you enjoying this intercourse? Oh, here's a raccoon down in the stream looking for crawdads. Oh man, I got the director's name and I'm already derailed. But I will say this: a lot of the people who are involved in the pornography, they're at least award-winning porn stuff. Because if you look on IMDb, you can look in it. No, they actually won awards.
I bet they did
for writing. Even I'm like, what? They have awards for writing and pornography?
We loved when you put the owl in the scene.
Yes. Anyways, so yeah, Edwin Brown. He was the director on and the writer on many of these as well. I should note that. So double threat. 1001 Erotic Nights. I think that might be porn. Also the sequel, 1001 Erotic Nights Part 2, The Forbidden Tales. Irresistible, which I'm almost certain is porn. That's the other thing, is some of these are just like erotic thrillers from like the 80s and 90s. And I always have a hard time telling it if an erotic thriller is like if it's pornographic or just like like if it crosses the line into porn or not.
Well, all right, let me quiz you then.
I don't want to do that.
Think.
I don't like this game.
Naughty girls need love too. You think that's what?
That's got to be porn. In fact, that's one of their award-winning porns. Okay. Actually, so yeah, they won like I can't remember the name of the award, but they won awards for writing and were nominated for directing. I think for that.
How about The Venus Trap? What do you think about that one?
That I think is not porn. That sounds like an erotic thriller.
Okay.
What is it? Rated R? Or is it rated X? That's usually a sure way to tell.
Oh, I wasn't gonna click on it, but you got me. It is rated X.
Whoopsies. Do you want me to just go through the others on this list, or are you gonna just go through them all this way?
China Girl.
I think that one's an erotic thriller.
It's rated X.
Whoa. Okay, but wait, his wife's an actress in that. I was gonna get there. See, this is the problem with doing this game is I have a lot of interconnected.
Right. Go your way. Go your way. You're right.
Okay, so finishing
you can go your own way.
And you can go your own way. speaking of going your own way, Every Woman Has a Fantasy. And then he also did like the sequels. So there's 2 sequels. Dreamgirls, not the one with Beyonce. This one is a porn. Different Dreamgirls. Hottest Parties, which ironically I believe is one of the rated R ones. So I'm not sure what that one even is. Sexual Outlaws, which is another one that's rated R. So I don't think that one's a porn. And it looks like his last credit was a movie called Mask, but spelled in a really complicated way, like SQUE, like you're replacing the K with QUE. That one appears to be pornography, if you will. So there you go, Edwin Brown. He's some producer credits. One of the things he's a producer on is Human Experiments, which is something that comes up later with some other people. So I figured I'd bring that one up. But all right, Edwin Brown. Now moving on to the other writer, Summer Brown, his wife. Because you know what they say, the couple that make pornography together stay together.
I think that's like a biblical text, right?
That straight up, yeah. That's
straight
in
up.
It was actually originally. See, a lot of people think it originated in the Bible. Turns out, it was actually the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Oh, I knew it.
Happens all the time. I know.
If I had $1.
Yeah, most of the same things. She's like a writer on them. Irresistible, Naughty Girls Need Love Too, Every Woman Has a Fantasy, Dreamgirls. You know, we don't have to get into it. We've already said the names once. But again, she was an actress though in China Girl and Human Experiments. It didn't look like one of her roles in one of them was just inmate. So I think she's probably just kind of like a, background kind of cameo role in probably both of those. But and also both Edwin Brown and Summer Brown use pseudonyms for their work in pornographic films. I want to say his was like Edward Durrell or something like that. I want to say, I can't remember what it was. That's a lot of research to do into pornography that I'm just not prepared to do. But speaking of people who've worked with them on pornography, but then also other movies, the music is Don Peake. Peak because this music is peak. Am I right?
Yeah.
He has some actual like really big credits, but then also some porn credits, which is kind of interesting. He has The Legend of Bigfoot, The Hills Have Eyes. Yes, that one, the original. Delusion, Irresistible, Naughty Girls Need Love Too. 72 episodes of Knight Rider. So he was the one who did the Knight Rider, like the
theme.
The theme, yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm into that.
Back to his Wes Craven collaboration with The People Under the Stairs, Sandman, Lunar Cop, Body Count, Hard Justice, a bunch of episodes of Taxi Cab Confessions, but not all of them. So I don't know if he was like what music he would have done then. And then his last credit
I could guess.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never seen Taxi Cab Confessions, so I don't know.
Oh, it's not like a porn series?
Is it? I thought it was. I thought it was like an HBO show or something. Like, all right. Well, whoops. I'm just stepping in porn everywhere I go.
Maybe it's not. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Anyways.
But Don Peake was also known for being in a, what was it? Like a musical group called The Wrecking Crew. You've heard of that? I hadn't heard about that, but IMDb made it seem important, so I figure I should bring it up. People probably care about that. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, and then he was he played guitar on You've Lost That Loving Feeling by the Righteous Brothers, River Deep Mountain High by Ike and Tina Turner. I mean, this guy's been around. Like, he's done a lot. He's played guitar with John Lennon, the Commodores, Mamas and the Papas, Marvin Gaye. So he was like a studio musician. So this guy has a lot of chops, like serious chops. So,
and he comes out. He comes out to work on Naughty Girls Need Love Too. So it just goes to show he's not too stuck up to take a gig. To take whatever gigs out there. He likes to work.
I think his claim to fame, personally, is he was the lead guitarist for the Everly Brothers. So.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Don Peake.
Actually, I read. This is crazy. I actually didn't know this about him. I just read this in this trivia. He holds a distinction of being the first white guitarist to play with Ray Charles.
What? That's
which
incredible.
Is pretty wild.
Yeah,
that's
wow.
wild. So, yeah.
All right, Don Peake, man, he's got it going on. Probably one of the most interesting things for me about his credits including The Hills Have Eyes, is that the Edwin and Summer Brown, The Hills Have Eyes was a huge influence on this movie for them, and you can definitely see some elements of it. I would say that it's significantly less exploitative, although for sure there's an exploitative bent towards the end, which I was bummed out about.
It's just like directly related to The Hills Have Eyes.
It's definitely, that seems to be a big part of the influence. We'll get there when we get to the plot description. Let's not worry about that right now.
Yeah.
And instead, let's move on to special effects. Ooh, this is a familiar name. This is none other than John Carl Buechler. Back in our hearts. Do you remember him?
I do.
So he's been a part of 3 movies we've done on this very podcast. Can you name them all?
From Beyond.
Correct.
We didn't do Friday the 13th. What was I'm trying to remember the other ones that we did. I'm sorry. I'm cheating. Give me a second.
He was a director on one of them. Then we had a guest on for it.
Ghoulies 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
When the Ghoulies go to college, don't forget.
Yes. Do they go to college?
Well, they go.
Do you think they ever made it?
They arrive to a college. They don't get them. The title seems to suggest that they enroll, but they certainly do not.
He's on a movie. He's worked on a movie that I would kill to get on this show, but it never comes around. Ghost Town.
Oh yeah, he definitely had a part of Ghost Town, but
yeah.
The other one was
what am I missing?
Mausoleum.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
He does makeup, right?
Yes. Yeah. See, that's the thing is he has
Yes.
separate credits in IMDb. They separate the makeup credits from the special effects credits.
Right.
That's why it's like he's special effects on like Bride of Reanimator, but he's makeup effects on Reanimator. So it's like hard to keep track of the lineage there. And he was director and special effects on Friday the 13th, The New Blood, which is secretly one of my favorite Friday the 13th. But we've covered his stuff a lot. I don't know if you want me to go into it again. I mean, we can just like name off some of the greatest hits, you know. You have the Ghoulies. What?
Before you get into this, so was this his first film? Looks like Stingray came out in 78, so that Stingray's his first. So this would have to be his second, right?
I don't know. I thought that he was sought out by them. So I thought that he had already done some work, but as I look back, it is pretty early in his filmography.
Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, Friday the 13th, The New Blood is the one with the psychic girl who accidentally
That's a good one.
Yeah, who
That's
accidentally resurrects our man Jason when she's trying to resurrect her dead dad. You know, that's how it works when you have telekinetic powers. You sometimes just resurrect people. What can you do? Yeah, but getting into some of his credits, just in case people just jumped in on this and they don't feel like going into our back catalog to find out more about John Carl Buechler, but also don't want to use the device in their hand that allows them to like search for all information constantly forever. You know, Ghoulies, Troll, TerrorVision. You know, you got Ghoulies 2, obviously. Cellar Dweller, Ghost Town, you'd mentioned. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Master. And then Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers, two big ones. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, celebrating its 40th anniversary. I recently went to a anniversary screening for that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Carnosaur, Tammy and the T-Rex, Project Metal Beast, Robot Jocks, one for Freck there. So yeah, plenty of awesome stuff from our man John Carl.
You mean Roblox Jocks?
I didn't say Roblox Jocks this time. Wait, was it me who said it or was it you who said it?
It was you.
It was me?
Twice.
No one would have remembered it.
You actually wrote it down in your notes as that too.
I did?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Man.
I need someone to do a fact check for us and go back to Mausoleum and listen.
Or I could just go open my notes because I do have all of my notes.
No. Eric, this is your punishment. Go.
Yeah.
You've been summoned.
Yeah, he has to listen to the Mausoleum episode again, which was another disappointing movie, and another movie that I would say is worse than Winter Beast. All right. So, before we get to the cast, though, I'm going to do something that I've never done before. And I'm going to reach deep into the recesses of the other camera crew people. I'm going to pull out one that says, what does it say here? Wildlife photographer?
He deserves flowers.
I'm going to take a second to acknowledge Gary Giroux. I don't know if it's how he pronounces it. It's spelled like Dr. Giroux from Dragon Ball Z, so I'm going to say it's Gary Giroux. He has no other credits on IMDb. So I don't know if he was like actually by profession a wildlife photographer. They hired him for this, or like what happened. But yeah, the wildlife, I saw him in the credits and I was like, this guy's going to be in the list. We're going to make sure that he gets his acknowledgments here. Are you looking him up to confirm that he has nothing else? Are you looking to see if he has like outside of the film industry credits of some kind?
He's a Hollywood animal trainer.
Then why does he have more credits on IMDb then? Does he not get credit for being a trainer, or does he train them but he doesn't handle them, so he doesn't get credit on the films for it?
No, I think we should not get into it. Maybe.
Why?
Because one of the articles is Hollywood animal trainers banned from training animals.
Oh no, is he a criminal? Now I feel bad for giving him his flowers.
No, I don't know, man. But everyone, it's funny, if you Google this, everyone says like this guy, these photos look lifted straight from like a National Geographic show. I think he's just an animal handler. He's in the Harry Potter wiki. So he might have, I think he did the owl. Like Hedwig. Now I have to look.
I don't know anything about Harry Potter, so you could tell me anything. You could tell me he handled a dragon, and I'd believe you.
Says he's been abusing animals for years. I don't see any other credits for that. It's like it's kind of unsubstantiated other than this kind of looks like the Tiger King kind of thing that came out.
I don't like that.
So, I don't know.
Well, now that Shane's bummed us all out, I guess I'll move on. I guess we'll start with the cast. I
don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, like I don't even care now. We'll start with our final girl, Nancy, as played by Debbie Thurison. It's actually super funny. Halfway through my notes, I realized I was putting her name as Debbie in my notes, so I had to do like a find and replace to put Nancy back in. The only other credit she had was an episode of some show called Billy that I'd never heard of, and that's in this, and this is it. So this is her star-making turn. And then because the structure of this is like many slashers, is couples together on a couples trip. Her significant other is Joel, as played by Steve Bond. He actually has a decent number of credits. I picked a few of them. Tarzan and the Jungle Boy, The Arrangement, Massacre at Central High, HOTS, H-O-T-S, Bigfoot and Wild Boy, Witch's Brew, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, but he's just like a side character. He had some like long runs on those like, usual suspects of soap operas. He had like 212 episodes of General Hospital and then like 123 episodes of Santa Barbara. Son of Darkness, To Die For 2, Trist, Blue Devil, Space Jack, My Favorite Martian, but not one that I think I've ever seen. The Joyriders, Noah, Born to Race, Fast Track, and his last credit is something called Enchanted Christmas, which I can only assume means that he's entered the Hallmark holiday phase of his career. Is this going to be a random character?
Dude, you nailed that one.
Is it? Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
That a horror movie to a Hallmark holiday movie pipeline is real, It's almost as real as the pipeline from like video games to like Andrew Tate, There's only a couple more thorough pipelines you can go on in this world.
So there's so many Call of Duty matches you can lose before you go straight to Tate.
Before you change your clan tag to something racist.
With a bunch of letters and numbers.
Yeah, trying to do your secret white supremacist codes. Everyone knows what 1488 means. You're not smart. All right, moving on to our next female protagonist is Bobby, as played by Lori Lathan, or I think she pronounces it Lethan or Lethine or something. They said it. She pronounces it weird, and I do not know how. She has a significant number of roles comparatively. A lot of TV roles that are kind of one-offs. She had some good horror movies like Bloody Birthday, Return to Horror High, The Wave, The Day After, The Platinum Triangle. Her last credit, I believe, was something called Broke Down Palace. I don't know what that is, but that was it. So not a lot of credits, but, a decent spread of one-off, television roles. Anything for Lori before I move on? It sounded like you were taking a breath to say something.
It said she retired from acting and went and got a degree in clinical psychology. So she's a practicing psychologist.
Yeah, it said that she's a practicing psychologist, but it seems like she should be close to retirement by now, shouldn't she?
I don't know.
She was like born in like 55, I want to say. Our generation will never retire, so who cares about when you retire? And then her significant other in this is Skip, the resident jerk, as played by Robert Wald. He's got Summer Camp, The Naked Truth, and Dinner at Lou's, and that is it. And that's about all he deserved. I'm
That's
joking. He is actually, because I don't like his character, that means he's probably a pretty decent actor. He did a good job of making me dislike his character. And then our final female component of this trio of couples is Gail, as played by Gail Gans. She was in Human Experiments, The Junkman, and Hot Moves, and that is it. It's not a very huge career for her. But it's kind of surprising that she has like I think she had like a 6 credit, but like 4 feature film credit long like entry on IMDb, and they still don't have a photo for her.
Yeah, that's always so weird.
Like, why doesn't someone just submit one of these pictures to be the picture? Like, there's plenty you can do. And then her significant other is Greg, as played by Philip Wenkus. Let's take a second to enjoy that name, just bask in it. All right, just this. This is all he's got. Next up is probably the second most well-known, I would say, actor in this, is Mark O'Brien, is played by Jackson Bostwick. Evel Knievel, The Island at the Top of the World, 17 episodes of Shazam, where he played Captain Marvel. Just so everyone knows, the original Captain Marvel was a character from Fawcett Comics, but Fawcett Comics got bought up by DC Comics. There's a Captain Marvel, obviously, in Marvel Comics. At the same time, DC was allowed to keep their Captain Marvel because he was around before Timely Comics became Marvel Comics. But eventually, they decided it was too confusing, and they changed the name of the character, Captain Marvel in DC, to Shazam.
Shazam!
Yes. Just so everyone knows, let's get that out in the open now, so no one's like, oh, how could he be Captain Marvel if Shazam is the name of the guy? It's like, it wasn't always the name of the guy. This was well before that happened. Some other movies, though, for Jackson Bostwick. We have The Cat from Outer Space, The Killings at Outpost Zeta, Escape from DS3, Tron. Maybe you've heard of it. What Waits Below, The Outing, Future Zone, Mutant Species, Dodge City, a Spaghetti Western.
Nope.
What?
That's not the title.
What's the title?
It's a Spaghetto Western.
Oh, is it Spaghetto?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's like it's like based in the hood, so it's based in the ghetto. So it's like
that's kind of
spaghetti, spaghetto. Yeah, Afro Man is the lead, and his character's name is Click Clack.
All right, well maybe I need to watch that movie now. That sounds more interesting.
Dude, it looks awesome. I'm all over this. There's no photos of it. Isaac Hayes is in it. So.
All right, so it could go either way. Horror grind show double feature is suitable for murder. So that's all I had for Mark O'Brien's the character. That's all I have for Jackson Bostwick. Honestly, Mark O'Brien sounds more like a dude's name than Jackson Bostwick does, which is
sure does.
Throw me off. Do you have anything else for Jackson? All right. Moving on to Lester Tile, as played by Jackie Coogan. His performance, he was discovered by Charlie Chaplin, as I had mentioned earlier. He worked in silent film, and I don't think it was silent film. I think by then they were talkies, but it was still like early in the studio system. He was an MGM player for a long time. He had like a really high paying contract for a very young actor. So he had like 150 some odd credits. I just went and picked and chose.
He had a ton.
Picked and chose. The Kid, My Boy, Oliver Twist, Daddy, Circus Days, Long Live the King, The Ragman, Old Clothes, Tom Sawyer, Home on the Range. Tom Sawyer would be like a dude who's just made out of dirt, right?
Yeah.
Kilroy was here. Escape from Terror, the Buster Keaton story, the Space Children, the Shakiest Gun in the West. He was in the Addams Family, the
Uncle
original
Fester.
The Addams Family as Uncle Fester, yes, and he played that role in a lot of the shows that were going on around the same time, including the new Scooby-Doo movies, I believe. Sherlock Holmes in New York, Human Experiments, brings him back into the orbit of these guys. See, it all connects. That's how he came into their orbit. Dr. Heckle and Mr. Hype, The Escape Artist, which is his, and then this is his last role, actually. So I think I mentioned it earlier. His final role is this, The Prey, an 80-minute animal-ridden slasher movie. But probably his most enduring legacy was he was responsible for the passing of the Coogan Bill, which was a bill that was passed to protect child actors from being financially exploited by their parents because they're minors, which is something that he had to endure because I'd mentioned his MGM contract when he was very young was very lucrative. I think it was like $1 million contract. And back then in the 1920s, that was huge.
Oh, yeah.
So it was his parents took financial advantage of him. And because of him, that bill was passed and bears his name. So there you go. Important history lesson alongside the actor who played Uncle Fester. And then we have some one-off characters here. Mary Sylvester is played by Connie Hunter. Companions of Nightmare, Something Evil. Frank Sylvester is played by Ted Hayden. Wild Riders, LBJ, The Early Years, which can't imagine how interesting that is. A Night at the Magic Castle, Ghost Dad, starring the now infamous Bill Cosby. The Soft Kill, Star Trek Hidden Evil, which is a video game. So Frank Sylvester, Ted Hayden, he's got a little bit. There's Sergeant Parsons, Dover police officer who calls in about the missing Sylvesters. Is played by Gary Goodrow. He has a lot of credits. I just pulled out a few, though, because he's only in this movie for like one scene. Lemmings, American Hot Wax, Coming Attractions, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Escape from Alcatraz, The Lost Empire, Once Bitten, Dirty Dancing, Amazon Women on the Moon, and I think his last role was Adventures of Power in 2008. Then the final, last but not certainly not least, my man, is The Monster, as played by Karel Struiken. He's from the Netherlands, so I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Struiken. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Bigfoot and Wild Boy, Die Laughing, Ewoks: The Battle for Endor, The Witches of Eastwick. He was the giant in Twin Peaks. He was in both the movies, the Addams Family and Addams Family Values movies as Lurch. He was in Star Trek: The Next Generation as Mr. Hom, who was Donna Troy's mom's attendant. So he appeared in several episodes as following around carrying her baggage and stuff. He was in Men in Black as the Arquillin, who is just the big tall guy who gets murdered by the bug.
Super tall guy.
Yeah, the Vampire Hunters Club. Gerald's Game is the Moonlight Man, which a lot of people have opinions on that. It's a pretty crazy role. Dr. Sleep is Grandpa Flick. And then his last two roles here that I have are The Eden Theory and Class of 85. So I think he's still working, but the Class of 85 was his most recent credit. So that's all I wanted to cover in the cast and crew. Obviously, crews are huge. There's a lot of other people you'd get to on the technical side. And then there are a few other actors listed in the cast side, but they're from a alternate cut that we didn't see. And I'd rather not get into it for reasons.
Got some hard G's in there, too.
Yes. A big part of it is the somewhat racism of those roles.
Where did this movie take place?
It was it was in the mountains.
Like U.S.?
Yeah, in the United States.
I assumed it was the Pacific Northwest because the kids were from California. Was there a heavy Romani population in that area? Or is that not or is that just some liberties they took?
I mean, it's hard to know. It was definitely filmed there. It was filmed in California, but looks like the Keenwild National Forest is in the Colorado Rockies.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know, is that real or is Keenwild real?
Sure.
I'll just Google it. Nothing came up except boots.
Yeah. Lies.
So
Cool.
I don't know if it's real or not. There you go. Cast and crew. How you feeling? You feeling good?
Feeling great.
You feeling like it's like 83 degrees in your room right now? Oh, no, it's not even 80 here yet. I looked at my thermostat to see how hot it actually
Good luck.
was. Yeah, I'm going to roast to death here.
As planned.
This is all part of your scheme. All right. Well, now that we've gotten through all of the pornography, that's not fair. There's plenty of stuff going on.
There's plenty of porn left.
There's a lot of porn left. There again actually isn't, because this is again, surprisingly not very racy kind of, especially considering a lot of the
Subject
more
matter?
exploitation level. Yeah, like there's a lot more exploitation going on in a lot of the slashers of this era. So this one is actually surprisingly tame in that regard, in my opinion, unless I'm just like totally misreading the room here.
No, there's only one scene that gets a little weird, and it's at the end. So.
That's true. It sure does. I'm really glad that we're doing this a new way where I get tongue-tied more often, because I always felt like the way that was edited before made it seem like I was way more well-spoken than I actually am. It's time for the audience to learn the truth.
That's not really fair.
That I get way more mixed up than it seems.
I still could get rid of that stuff.
Do not. That's the whole point of doing it this way, is so you don't have to spend that time doing that. But it's
So what Stefan's referring to is I was over editing like crazy.
He was.
Like that would have been gone. The I did. Anytime I stutter or do anything
say
stupid.
Shane. It's allowed. Like, people
get
expect it. Let's get some cinema verite up in here.
Truth.
I want some verisimilitude in my horror movie podcasting, please. But especially me, because I had a speech impediment when I was a child, and sometimes I still get tongue-tied even as an adult. So that's why that comes out from time to time. So anyways, who cares about that? We got to go back to the prey, and we got to get on this plot description. Music.
Mushroom.
Music.
There's going to be a solid group of people that know that reference. And if you're young enough to not know what that was, damn, write in and let us know how you found us, because I'm very interested to know how you came to an 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s horror podcast and don't know 90s, 2000s internet humor.
Back in a time when the internet was, everyone thought it was more dangerous, but it's actually more pure, and now it's more dangerous to not just to people individually, but to our entire society, to our future, to the purity of information, to the reliability of information, to all of our systems. Yeah, it's great. The internet's amazing. But back to the prey. Let's get back to people being murdered in the woods. That's what we're here for. We're not here to talk about the doom of the future. Yes. All right. Opening with letters. Okay. The North Point, Keenwild, 1948. We get a raging fire. This is a long scene of a raging fire, and let me tell you, it's raging.
Inexplicably.
There's a lot of screaming in the background. A lot of screaming. Nope, no one on screen.
Not a person.
Not a person to be seen, just fire.
This is like what the Lorax sees in his sleep.
That it. This nightmare, yeah. Not the trees.
I speak for them.
Yeah, they're screaming. That's why the screaming's happening. That's a good one. That's actually funny. Okay, so then we have a sudden bird call, and we cut to a moon. The birds calling as some ominous music begins. I think it's pretty good ominous music. Get some red text. Credits are coming up. Solid drum and string work here, in my opinion. I think the percussion and the strings are working overtime. Right when the prey pops up, the music cuts out to the night forest sounds as we now get a credit that says the North Point Keenwild 1980. So if you're keeping score, we went to 1948 of the North Point Keenwild just so we could watch a fire and hear screaming in the background. And now we're in 1980. It told us nothing about the plot other than some people were screaming in the woods and they were on fire.
Could be trees.
Could be. Yeah, it could be. It's like them trees from what's that Wizard of Oz thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys. But those guys were jerks. They had it coming.
They did.
I don't actually mind that they're getting burned. So let's take trees we'd care if they were screaming.
All right, let's rate our top favorite tree people. Like sentient trees.
The Ents
are number one. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. They got to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I guess, is Swamp Thing count as people or is he just one dude? Because
I think he's people. There's got to be more than one.
He's like, well, there is because he's the Avatar of the Green. So there's actually several Swamp Things. He's just one of many.
Yeah.
He has someone who came before him and he has a successor.
So number 2, right?
Oh, number 2's got to be Swamp Thing in my opinion.
Number 3 are these screaming trees, probably, right?
I don't know, man. What about Groot? You gonna step on Groot like that?
Like, are they trees though?
That's true. They're just an alien that have tree-like qualities.
Right. So now we're getting like, and then I think the bush from Moses, the Christian.
I hear you, but there's a lot of religious conflict that comes out of that, and our world has a lot of that already. So why don't we give it to the Giving Tree?
Okay.
That dude talks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that
kid
takes advantage of him too. So
sure does.
Yeah.
And then maybe, like, I know the tree doesn't talk, but the tree that Boo Radley hides stuff in To Kill a Mockingbird.
It teaches us a good lesson about our assumptions about people. So, yeah, that tree didn't participate other than being a tool of this important lesson in tolerance. But
the boy of trees could talk. I would probably has a lot to say about that time.
You probably just like, Boo Radley's just a dude. You don't have to be so worried about him.
And then these screaming on fire trees. I think we nailed it.
For sure. That's it. Those are all the trees that matter in the world.
Trying to fill some time here with the 80 minutes with 40 minutes of animal filler that we have to get through.
R.I.P. to that tree from Avatar that had all the mind of the planet in it, and those
pour one out, dude. That thing did not last.
Yeah, I couldn't remember its name, but that tree got wrecked. So, all right, this has been brought to you by trees. Back to where I was.
You know what song got stuck in my? I literally, as soon as you said that, it popped in my head.
Okay,
was that trees with the Arbor Day Foundation? It's all across the nation, love trees, or something like that. That, you know what I'm talking about? That old public broadcasting commercial used to air.
I can confidently say I have no idea what that is.
What?
No.
Someone write in. Someone help me out. Freck, you got me.
I'm sure a lot of people have your back. It sounds like a real thing because you sang it, but I just don't know it. Man, wow. So we are 2 minutes into this movie and we've already been significantly derailed. All right. Back to the North Point, Keenwild, 1980. An older couple, the Sylvesters, are having some dinner at the fire. One of 2 fireside meals in this movie, which is not a lot of fireside meals, but it's more screen time than you'd expect.
In the same spot. So, like, not even like 2 separate area of fireside meals. Hey, just a question. Do you think these are the couples that call each other mother and father?
The Sylvesters?
Yes.
Well, we don't know if they have children, though. We
know
know that,
but you know how there's those old couples always do that where they're like...
That, yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that these are them?
The Sylvesters?
Yeah.
Maybe, because there's a line that Frank says that he says it's good chow.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a father line, saying it's good chow.
He like pulls the pipe out. He's like, you go down to the river, clean it out. I'm going to give you some mediocre wiener and when you get back.
Whoa, okay. There's a lot. You're assuming a lot about their roles. She said she was going to walk to the lake. He didn't ask her to. You're putting a lot of gender roles on this that aren't there.
I guess I am. It was the 70s.
Someone's internal misogyny has come out to play.
Shit, he got me.
All right.
Burned.
Back to, again,
from my ways.
Only seconds after I last was able to talk about this movie. So yeah, Frank's. It's literally my next line was Frank indicates that it's good chow. That's what I put in my notes. Mary seems to agree. As unseen, we get a POV shot from the woods to a heartbeat sound effect as it moves through the forest. I was going to tell you right now, if there's a POV scene, there's going to be a heartbeat, to the point where I called it an HPOV.
Oh yeah, nice.
Heartbeat point of view. So we get a POV shot with a heartbeat. But guess what? When it gets closer to the fire, when it sees the fire that they're sitting by, suddenly the heartbeat, it cuts to images of the forest fire, and the heartbeat speeds up. So you get the idea that the killer doesn't care for fires. So it is the Lorax after all. Yeah, you know what actually would be super funny? You know how they've been releasing all those movies of
my God,
beloved childhood characters?
The things that come out of copyright?
Yeah, like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
And they just did a Popeye one. And
That
they
one
did
looks
Mousetrap.
unhinged.
And they did Steamboat one with
Yeah.
Steamboat Willie killing people. Yeah, give me one. Give me one of the Loraxes wiping out these kids that disrespect his forest. That'd be super
Hey, I've
good.
got good news for you.
What is he coming into the public domain?
It's already been done.
What? Has it really?
He had The Prey, 1983.
Oh, well, no, because this dude is not a cute orange dude with a stash. We'll get to what this killer is. But anyways, Mary tells Frank that she's going to take a walk to the lake. Again, she volunteers this, is not told to. She tells Frank to come looking for her if she isn't back in 10 minutes. Then she proceeds to walk through the woods as we get like a rapid heartbeat from that HPOV. Another thing. Did you notice that Mary was walking through the woods without a flashlight, carrying like this pots and pans to wash in the lake? This is, again, one of those things like Hollywood. Have you been in the woods? You do not go without any kind of light. It is dark out there.
There's
There's no ambient light. Like literally, and there's so many branches. There's no trail. She's not even on a trail. Yeah. Anyways, Mary walking in the pitch dark, back to Frank sipping his coffee by the fire, goes to light up a pipe. Like you said, he does pull out a pipe. So you're right. I guess he's a sexist. He's got to be. Who else would have a pipe like that? Then he goes to get his axe, what we may call Chekhov's axe, and proceeds to sharpen it. It's a real white knuckle thrill ride as they set up this obvious murder scene that's going to happen. You know, Mary, as she's walking towards the lake, she hears some rustling. She does that classic horror movie "Is Someone There" thing. It's like, definitely say that if you hear rustling in the woods.
Yep.
Suddenly alarmed, she continues on her journey, but like she has got her head on a swivel now. She's ready. Perhaps sensing that, it seems like the killer is now stalking Frank. The HPOV shot is coming closer to Frank as he's cutting woods. I guess woods. Isn't it weird that we call it woods when it's like a living forest? We call it wood when it's a chopped down forest. Something to think about. Just trying to compensate for how I used the wrong form of wood. We as an audience are like, who's going to die first? But then Mary hears screaming from Frank. She drops her pots and pans and goes a-running. Back to Frank. Bummer, Shane. He's already decapitated. He sharpened that axe too good.
He sharpened it too good, and he tripped. It was crazy.
So,
Our main guy was just trying to save him. He's like, no. And he just fell into his...
Yeah,
that's
but
why I
he's
love
like,
Tucker and Dale versus Evil, because it's like all the accident kills.
the killer's like, no one will believe I didn't do this. So she comes back. But no, in fact, it was the murderer, and the axe is now raised dramatically, and then it comes down on, what's her name? Mary, as she screams. All right.
Can we talk about how cool the scene was where they set up the shots where his axe was raising, and then it would pan to the back of her head, and then it would instant cut to the wood being split, like with her walking away? I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very good.
Because it kind of gave you the sense like, oh shit, he's going to chop her in the head with the axe. I don't know. It was cool. There's a really, there's a lot of cuts in this, and there's a lot of pacing, I think, that indicate that these filmmakers do know what they're doing. Like, this is not an amateur production by any means. It's just a little by the numbers. So it's going to be your standard,
boilerplate slasher. Where was I? Oh yeah, smash cut to bugs. So we get a honeybee getting its pollen on. We get a spider. I wasn't a fan of that. We got a centipede. Also not a fan of that. This is the first of many footage of wildlife, so get ready. Cut to frog. Cut to just mountain and forest. A lot of mountain and forest shots in this. Raccoon in a stream. I hope it's enjoying itself. Turkey vulture in the sky. Pay attention to those populations. They're going to become thematically important later. Spider web. But then a moth or butterfly. Definitely like a, what is it? What is the family of those? Lepidoptera? Whatever the group that both moths and butterflies are part of. One of them definitely gets into that web and gets caught up by the spider, which suggests that in this nature, you could fall into the trap of a murderer. Thematically relevant. All right.
I listened to that in the voice of the guy from the Twilight Zone.
Rod Serling?
Yeah, like you had a solid Rod Serling vibe.
Except he has a pretty good sounding voice, and mine sounds like scraping. What? Oh man, it is Lepidoptera. I can't believe I remember that.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, thanks, 10th grade biology. All right, but we don't have time to talk about butterflies and moths because there is a victim pool on the way in a van singing some kind of vulgar campfire shanty. But we don't see who any of them are. We don't know who they are. It's a really good way to introduce our protagonists by not showing us any of them as they have a lengthy song session. Fortunately, oh wait, no, never mind. We have sudden killer HPOV as he's breathing heavily in the forest. Oh, this is the first scene that introduced the idea that he also breathes heavily. For a while, we just thought he only had a heartbeat. His heartbeat
deviated septum
to the beat of the drum. Yes,
no.
he also has a deviated septum. So yeah, we gotta, that to remind us that he's out there, even though he's not anywhere near them. He's just walking in the woods. Like, what a day to be in the forest. At the Keen Wild Ranger Station, I believe it is. The van empties out. We get our first look of our three couples. Again, to reiterate, so you guys remember, Nancy and Joel, Bobby and Skip, and Gail and Greg. Gail and Greg got paired together probably because of the alliteration, because they definitely don't seem to have a very good relationship. Gail immediately absconds to the bathroom, and the guys head to the station to get their wilderness permits. From a wooded road nearby, pulls up a ranger vehicle containing our ranger hero, Mark O'Brien, who notices the ladies at the van. I think what Bobby and Gail are going through the bags, and I don't even know what Nancy's doing. I think she's just sitting in there, not doing much of anything. She's like, it's fine. I'm gonna be the focus of most of this movie. But then, Bobby spots Mark on the approach and remarks that he's a hunk. Gail's like, don't worry, I'll handle this. Because apparently Gail is like the man crazy one of them. You get the idea that, that Nancy's the like more buttoned up, proper one. Bobby is kind of nondescript. Maybe she like definitely is into hunky stuff, but she also doesn't seem down for the guy she's with. And then Gail is supposed to be like the more slutty one, like the prissy, like slutty one. Yeah. So those are like the loose archetypes they fall into, although there's also things that suggest that those archetypes are more fluid, which is actually better for rich characterization. I do appreciate. But whatever. Mark approaches. Gail calls him officer. He's like, I'm not a cop, but I am with the Park Service. I'm like, well, what do they call you, Ranger? Oh, yeah, I guess she should call him Ranger. He's introduced to Bobby and Nancy as well as Gail. He asks if they are going alone, which seems pretty serial killery, a little bit like, oh, so all you ladies going to the woods alone? Oh, good news. That's my serial killer voice. But
I'd be afraid.
Nancy says, no, our boyfriends are getting the permits. You can tell that Mark is disappointed. He clearly had eyes for Nancy. But he asks them where they're going, and upon hearing that it's North Point, he makes the North pointed remark, perhaps, that not many people go there. Funniest scene alert. He says, watch out for the bears. And Bobby is like, bears? And then smash cut to a bear.
Straight up.
Isn't that the perfect cut? I actually made an Instagram reel of that,
funny.
and I put that on Instagram. So
You texted me that too. And
that's what sold
God,
you on
it's so
doing this
funny,
for the
dude.
Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon.
yeah, it was so funny. There's a couple other ones that are like smash cut animal. But this one definitely like takes the cake.
The funny thing is, it just cuts to like a black bear walking through some foliage. It's not even doing anything. It's just having a day.
Just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, it looks like super docile, just relaxed. But don't worry, there's some more cuts. Cut to woodpecker, and then really quick cut to a snake face. I think it's a rattlesnake based off its face, but I didn't get to see its full body, so I couldn't confirm.
Hard to tell.
Yeah, all reptile faces look alike.
Whoa.
I'm kidding. Reptiles are very different looking, and even different snakes look differently. Anyways, the group now is taking off into the forest. They seem to be following no trail, and there's a lot of indistinct chatter as they're walking for a very long time about who will cook. Really riveting stuff. Then a nice sweeping shot of the forest, a nice zoom into some mountains, so you don't forget you're in the woods. Then back to the group as they hike through the woods. Again, I can't stress enough, actually. I didn't stress enough the first time. They are not following a trail. They're just walking through the woods. Yeah, there are no markers. There's nothing. They're just following Joel. And as we know later, part of Joel's plan for the day is to go rappelling. So they're following a man who seems to be the only one who knows how to move through this forest, this non-path they're taking, who may do an activity that kills him. Should have stuck with Mark, man. Especially since he has some sick musical skills, as we will find out soon.
We will find out.
But anyways, yeah, back to... hold on a second. It says here, sweeping shots of forest and mountains. Okay, cool. All right. Suddenly, sorry, I had to make sure I got the notes on that right. Yeah, I might have forgotten one of those.
I was worried.
Yeah, you might have forgotten one of those mountain vistas. If I don't tell you about them, how are you going to know?
You paint a picture. Paint a picture, brother.
I'm over here doing my Mont Blanc moment. But back to them hiking. Gail, being the prissy girly girl one, she's tired and is falling behind. But it's not time for killing yet. So she just falls behind. We get I put a lot more of the notes for the nature stuff than I thought. I'll read for this note verbatim what I put in my notes. Slow zoom shot toward a mountain peak between a conifer and a rotted stump. So it's like, are these going to be important? I better put them all in my notes.
Honestly, accurate description. A lot more interesting than what's going on for most of this movie.
It's a lot of beautiful landscape.
Like this is like a Bob Ross painting.
Honestly, the weird thing is we get a lot of cuts between nature and them walking, but then we get cuts between nature and then them doing other things or having other conversations.
Yeah.
But for those, there is no thematic through line from what I can tell. Maybe I'm missing something. Cool. Yeah. So, because this is the part where it starts to be like Skip says to Joel, "Man, am I ready for tonight?" And then Greg is standing behind them grinning. So you get the idea that Greg's kind of like a background guy. It's like Skip and Joel are tight, and they don't really care for Greg as much. Well, they like Greg, but he's not a main dude. Sudden cut to burned hands working on some kind of snare trap. Quick note.
Chekhov's.
That is what we call Chekhov's snare trap. So jot that down. Put it in your notes, friends at home. That snare trap is going to become very important later.
The first time you watched this, did you forget about the snare trap? Because I did. And I'm like, what was that about? And then nothing happens. And then I'm like, okay, whatever. And then when it happens, I'm like, oh my God, burned hand snare trap guy.
Burned hand snare trap guy. I didn't forget about it, but mostly because it's 30 minutes later that it happens.
Sure. Yeah. By the way, we're halfway through this movie.
We're a chunk in for sure.
Yeah.
We are. I would say we're more like a third of the way through, but yeah, we are making progress here. But then we cut from that snare trap to Skip telling Joel about the art of camping seduction. Well, Skip says something like, you just slide in there and be like, And I thought that was like a really cool, like, juxtaposition between the setting of the trap, because he's basically talking about how to, like, take advantage of the girl he's dating. And I was like, ew,
Yeah,
that's
pretty much.
pretty gross.
It didn't work out for him, so.
And also, I forgot to mention it, Joel, the actor who plays Joel, pretty good-looking dude, so I don't think he has any problems getting with his lady. But if you need more evidence about how good-looking he is, if you don't plan on watching this, Steve Bond, the actor who plays him, Playgirl model, dude. Straight up. Hangs dong, from what I've heard. I haven't looked, but yeah.
Sure.
So he's been a Playgirl model, so. Mike Honcho. That's a good reference, right?
Yeah.
Do you get that one?
Sure.
From Talladega Nights?
Yeah.
You don't get it, do you?
Don't tell me my business, Rick and Bobby.
All right. You're probably going to cut that part out because you definitely didn't get my reference. Yeah, so the women... Oh, here we go. The ladies are walking elsewhere, which is weird. So they're all walking as a group. So when do these guys separate from the ladies in order to talk about how to, get with their girls in a camping setting? And it was actually super funny because Bobby says it's going to be so romantic, as her boyfriend Skip is the one talking about, now here's how you get with her. Here's how you get with your girl. That's not how his voice sounds, but I can't do his voice. That's what he is. He's like a, 1930s street tough.
I thought it was there. I closed my eyes. It was like right back at the movie.
Well, close your eyes again and think about a red-tailed hawk, because that's what we're about to cut to suddenly for no reason. It is the screech that people always attribute to eagles. Joel, at the front of the group, says, looking good, as they're walking, which, again, there is no trail. What is looking good? What is looking good? The trail that isn't there? I can't reiterate how much there isn't a trail. I can't know how to not know more about this trail.
Boy, I wonder if Slappy Tello worked here first.
Oh no, Slappy. He was the one who's supposed to maintain these trails. R.I.P. to our boy. See, ask me the name of any character in Death Ship. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
The ship.
What's its name?
You said ask you. I asked.
Yeah, but that's not the name of the ship. The ship has a name. It's a military vessel.
You said ask me any character's name of Death Ship, and I won't know it. And I asked you the name of the ship, and you didn't know.
I don't know it. The USS Bismarck.
Yeah, right. The USS Ford.
Oh, talk about it. They don't like to acknowledge their troubling history with racism. Anyways, forget about Henry Ford for a second, and let's bury that deep in our National Shame Archive, which is a very large archive. Let's get to Joel sitting by a stream. Oh, some salamander action. Cut down to... Do you see that 6 salamander down there? Loved it.
Nothing happens to it.
Nothing. Oh, no, it dies.
The snake.
Yeah, I forgot. The snake kills it. Oh, what a drag. The rest of the group is resting. We get another HPOV shot. More ragged breathing. So chill out, guys. Don't worry. He's still out there. In fact, he moves throughout the forest very quickly for a big fella. Joel fills his water straight from the stream. I put in my notes, not recommended. Bacterial infection is possible. Gail is complaining about her boots, and Greg's like, well, maybe you should have broken them in before the trip. She's like, maybe I should have broken them in before the trip. It's like, are they in love or what? She calls him an asshole. Forgot about that. So, yeah.
Solid.
Best couple in the movie, 10 out of 10. Joel arrives back at the group and is like, we got to get back on the hike. Everyone starts to gear up, but Gail is spending a lot of time fixing her hair, and she's upset. Greg says that they aren't going to prom, and she's like, whatever, I'll catch up, you go. And he's like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, get out of here. That's important because that's part of their relationship here. So Greg's like, all right. Everyone leaves. Behind Gail, unseen to her at first, we get an HPOV shot. Killer's lying in wait, watching her. But Gail surprisingly has survival instincts because she turns around. She doesn't see, but she does turn in that direction, forcing the killer to take some refuge. But she's ill at ease by how alone she is and the sounds of nature around her. So she starts to pack up and runs after the others, dragging her pack through the forest, which I don't recommend. She's shouting for them to wait, but apparently this forest is so thick that you can't hear shouting from right near you. So, they don't hear her shouting.
That's how forests work.
Yeah, sure. There's not like you can't just hear sounds for miles and miles. We have somewhat of a chase sequence in a piano like tune that also suggests urgency as she's running. But again, we don't see the dude, and we get the HPOV shots picking back up, but they aren't like near her. They seem to be somewhere else in the forest, but a lot of forest looks like forest. That could be anywhere. But then as she runs, she scares a bunch of game birds. I assume are probably quail or grouse. I don't know what birds live in that region. So, but they it's a jump scare that makes her scream. Yeah, so everyone's making camp. So calm down. Everything's going to be good. Gail catches up with them and chastises everyone for leaving her, despite her telling them to leave her, which is an insane thing to do because, again, no trail. So how did she even know which direction to go? She says that she could have been raped or killed. Skip is like, but what? A horny chipmunk? Because Skip is the greatest character in all of cinema. And then he says something like, this is kind of a weird scene because he's like, it's like the most dangerous thing out here is Greg, and talks about Greg's wiener. He says something like I heard it goes down to his knees. I'm like, well, Greg's shorts only go down to his mid-thigh, so there ain't no way that's true.
It's wrapped.
All right, good enough. Sure. Gail protests, though, insisting that something was out there with her. Joel, again, our resident outdoorsman, arrives with, like, an insane amount of fish to have caught in that amount of time.
It's so many fish, dude.
He has a bundle of,
it's
8
like
fish.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
It's at least 6. If it's not 6, 7, 8, it's a lot of fish. And big fish, like decent-sized fish.
Like, I was impressed. I'm like, damn.
There's no way.
Son.
There's no way. So, yeah. But he's like, he arrives and he's...
That's a lot of fish.
It is a lot of fish, though.
It's so many fish.
And, like, beautiful, like, good food. Like, it's... Like, I don't know my fish races, but it looks like it might be trouts. Looks trout-like to me. It's got shimmery scales. All right, anyone?
I lost my ability to determine the style and/or. It was probably they kind of looked like they look store-bought for sure, but like.
The actor didn't go out and catch his own fish.
No, but like they didn't like catch fish and like use them. They looked like frozen, like already gutted and cut. Anyways, sorry.
Can't believe they didn't go out and catch fish properly.
Bastards.
Yeah. Either way, Gail continues to insist something's out there. Skip isn't having it, and thus the group isn't having it. Oh, hold on a second. We get another long forest shot with heartbeat sound effects, but it's not POV this time. It's just forest. But then now we get the first example of the murderer's cry, which is like a long groan cry kind of thing, like a like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Let's be sure to leave that in. That's important for the audience to hear.
It's going to stay. That might be a new sound effect for us going forward.
I was half doing it like that. What was that song that people used to listen to in college with the guy who like would be like,
oh my God.
Chacarone or something like that.
Chacarone.
Yeah. What was that song? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know that song.
Yeah. Very similar sound effects from both of them. Anyways, night is beginning to fall. We get some night sounds, crickets, animal calls. Gail has her hair in a side pony and is currently putting on lipstick. I just figured I'd make note of that because she changed her hairstyle. That's work to put in your appearance here. The couples are kind of neatly arranged around a fire, but like in a half circle facing the camera because they are very cognizant that we, the audience, need to participate in this. I know that's just a thing you do in movies, but it always bothers me. Each are now involved in their own discussions. The camera pans up from Nancy, but we don't see anything in the woods, which actually is one of the weaknesses I think about this movie, which I'll get into as there's another more obvious example, I think. But quick cut to a local centipede. Why did I put local centipede? Of course that's what's in my notes. It says quick cut to local centipede.
Hey, you're not wrong.
I mean, it's there. Why would it cut to a different centipede? Whatever. Is this the centipede, though, that has like the loud sound effects of it walking?
Yeah,
for some
like,
reason,
like
they
super
superimpose loud sound effects for him. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, what are they do? Why are they doing this to this particular centipede? That may be
It's
why
local.
I put it there. Yeah. Nancy remarks that Joel may know how to catch him, but I know how to cook him, is kind of what she says. Cut to a raccoon. There's some cooking going on. Joel's starting to pass out food as we cut to a spider that cannot be native to that area. That was a tarantula, wasn't it?
Looked local to me.
It didn't. That's the problem. It didn't look local. Whatever. Food is continuing. So there's a lot of cut. This is where it's cutting between animals and people a lot. So food is being passed out. Cut to a rattlesnake crawling out of a log. Gail thanks Joel and has a bite as an owl pounces on a snake in the forest. Get it? Bobby eats, and then we see some ants moving around. Nancy has a bite. Cut to a snake eating a salamander. Devastating. We watched our friend the salamander die. Why are you laughing? This is what's happening. I'm explaining the plot.
It's so insane, dude.
Yeah, we see Greg eating. We cut to some ants now eating a worm. Do you get it? Do you get it? They're eating.
No, continue.
They're part of the forest now. Anyways, we're done with this cutting back and forth between animals eating and people eating. Although I do want to say... Oh, no, we're almost to the part that I'm going to talk about. So Joel is pointing out Orion to Nancy, and she asks him how he learned about the constellations. He's like, because I own a convertible. It's like, all right, Joel, chill out, dude. There's a lot of overlapping stories going on, and Gail is telling the same story kind of over and over again. It's kind of a weird situation because it seems like she's now next to Skip, and Skip is very invested, and it's annoying Bobby. And you think, oh, is this going to go somewhere? Is there going to be some conflict? No.
Nothing.
Even though it just results in a weird interaction because Greg is now left alone to the side closer to Joel and Nancy because his girl's talking to Skip. Nancy tells Joel not to make stuff up if he doesn't know the constellations, which lets Greg jump in, and he says that the constellation I'm looking at is the Pleiades, and he explains like the relationship between the Pleiades and Orion the Hunter, and then he explains Perseus and Medusa and Andromeda and some of the mythology behind all of this. Everyone laughs at him like, what a dork. I was very interested. I was like, oh, I remember some of this, but I'd like to
just eating it up.
Yeah, here's some more, but instead everyone laughed at him. Oh no, Shane!
Whoever wrote that was like, "This one's for you."
This one's for somebody in 2025 watching this for their podcast. It's like someone's like, "What's a podcast?" It's like, "You shut up." It may be 1979 or 1980, but I know exactly what a podcast is. Quick HPOV scene, so we don't forget that we're not just watching a fireside dinner documentary. It was somehow put in a blender with a nature documentary, and this is what they pulled out. Then Joel speaks up. He's like, I'm going to tell a campfire story. He's like, great. We're getting our lore of the campfire, Madman Mars moment, right? Is that what we're going to get, Shane?
Lore of the campfire, telling of his horror.
Exactly. Oh, before we get into that, I want to mention the story that...
the answer is no.
No, we're not going to get a lore of the campfire story. We're not
at all.
We're going to get a
There's
different...
no payoff to this.
Unrelated story. It's actually a real story that they butcher. But I do want to really quickly mention that did you listen to the story that Gail was telling over and over again? And it felt like she was like... So they were cutting... A lot of the conversations when they're hiking or when they're in groups is just stock conversation. You're not meant to pay attention to it. But I was listening very closely to what Gail was saying, and she kept describing over and over again the same scenario she was experiencing, which sounds like she was trapped in a car while there was a flood happening, and there was too much pressure for her to exit the one door, but she managed to get out the other. And I'm like, what is this story? But because the way that they spliced it together is
because the animals,
we just kept getting the same part over and over again.
Right.
Like, what is this story Gail is telling? Like, will we ever find out the full story? We will not. But I was like,
Gail might have hit her head on the way up the mountain. We don't know.
She pulled her side pony too tight, and now she has brain damage. But so that I wanted to mention that because that's like something that I don't know how many times I rewinded that scene. I'm like, maybe they put it out of order, but no, it's in order. It's not in order at all. It's the same part over and over again, but like split in half a couple times. So, anyways. Back to the campfire story. That it was a perfect time for a campfire story to give us the background of the threat they're about to face. Oh no, he's just going to tell a dumb version of the monkey's paw.
Yeah,
like a worse version of it. So he tells the story, we get their HPOV shot to the killer breaking up the story, but the killer breaking up the story is probably good because it's being told wrong anyway. The POV keeps changing, which I thought was weird. It's like on one side of the fire, then it's another. It's like this dude able to like teleport. But apparently he's not as pissed off about the fire this time because he doesn't like go into a rage and start murdering people. And apparently enough time had passed that we get to the end of the story and it's at the final wish of the monkey's paw. And the ending has changed. Do you remember the original ending of the monkey's paw?
I don't.
So the 3 wishes are, they wish for like $50,000.
Yep.
Their son is killed, they wish for the $50,000. Their son is killed, and that's the insurance payout.
Yep.
The wife wishes for their son to come back. He's dead. They hear knocking at their door at night, and then the dad like wishes to undo that, or that wish had never happened, or whatever. And then that's the end of it. So basically, the idea is, something evil is about to happen. The ending of the version here is the dad is like, I wish I had a good night's sleep, and that's the end of it.
Yeah,
what?
right, yeah, okay, yeah.
That's not how the monkey's paw ends. There's a lesson about the hubris of desire and the dark side of wishing for something, and instead it becomes, well, I guess I'll let my dead kid kill my wife and go to have a nap.
But damn it, I feel great.
Yeah, no, I feel good about it.
Now they have $100,000.
Oh no. That's what he wanted all along.
He's like, I'll show her.
Yeah. So everyone jeers, at least. I will give them that. They're like, boo, Leslie Knope, boo. I'm like, good. You guys hate it just as much as I did. Bobby announces that she is going to pee. So she leaves, and I guess Joel and Skip agree that, like, yeah, we got to pee too. So Joel and Skip follow her. The 2 guys are able to stop at a nearby tree. Bobby has to go significantly farther because she's wearing jean overalls, suspenders. Like what a terrible choice when you have to camp and you have to whiz in the woods. Why would you wear full on it's overalls, right? That's what it's called when it's like suspenders are part of it, but it's like
it is
paint.
overalls.
Yeah, overalls.
And judging from like the events that led to this situation, I don't think they think too much.
That's true. Yeah. So she has to find another place to like undo her overalls. Like, I feel for her. Really, I do. But like, what a terrible choice you made. Yeah. So elsewhere, Gail and Greg are setting up their own little spot away from the others. Hubba hubba. Gail is in a hammock tinkering with a radio as poor Greg is manually blowing up an air mattress with just breath power. Greg asks her if she would turn off the radio so that they can listen to the woods, but Gail just smiles and ignores him. It's like, man, what a relationship this must be. Mm-hmm. Bobby finally finished with her task, puts her overalls back on and comes around a tree. When she gets scared by Skip, he like jumps out and scares her.
Did you knock her out?
She passes out from fear.
Yeah.
She like faints from it. Both Joel and Skip are surprised, as are we. Anyways, cut to our man Mark. Did you forget about Mark, guys? Did you forget about our intrepid ranger bud?
Shazam.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Captain Marvel. But yeah, cut to Mark now in plaid, so you know he's cash now. He's on his ranger outfit.
Yeah.
What does he got next to him? Is that an original Coors can? Sitting on a trunk next to him?
Yeah.
In his rustic little living room. And what is he doing, Shane?
Playing the banjo.
He's playing the banjo. And how long does he play the banjo for, Shane?
Too long.
Like several minutes. He just literally plays a song on the banjo.
It's like 30 seconds of tuning.
So he starts out just kind of plucking around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Starts playing a whole song.
Yep.
Plays the song.
Yep.
Has a sip of the Coors. Starts to play again before it finally cuts.
Yeah.
Fun fact about that
retunes.
scene. Sorry, what?
Then he like tunes going out, like he's tuning.
He's like starting into another song. He's going to play something else. But our man Jackson, that the picture of the couple, the older couple on that stand next to his Coors,
Parents.
that was his real life parents. So
And they died in a forest fire, or
no, he just loved them and
just
wanted
had
to
'em.
put him in. Yeah, just put it in as an Easter egg.
Perfect. What a son.
What a lad! Except he put him next to a Coors can, so they didn't have IPAs back then, I guess.
I guess.
Back to the sleeping site. Nancy tells Joel that she feels bad for Greg. She's like, poor Greg, or something like that. And Joel's like, who cares? His dad is worth $50 million, and that'll all be Greg's one day. I'm like, well, yeah, but Nancy's like, what
Now
I
we
mean is
understand.
like, yeah, Gail mistreats him. Yeah, it's like, why Gail's with him? It's like Gail walks all over him, and Joel's like, have you looked at her? Number one, don't say that to your girlfriend that you're embracing while you're camping together alone. Don't imply that her friend is so attractive that this sort of behavior can be tolerated. And number two is, it's all right. So
Works out for him.
yeah, back to the Greg and Gail site. Greg is trying to get it on finally. So it's like, oh, he's trying to get some action under them shirts.
Trying to get it, girl.
Yeah, but Gail's putting him through it. She's gonna make him work for it. She's like telling him to apologize for leaving her, which again, she insisted. He tried to wait, which he does, and then tells him to. She tells him to tell her that she loves him. Or wait, no, hold on.
She tells Greg to
tell her that he loves her. All right, There it is. We did it. We got there.
She sells shell by seashore.
I know, wasn't that was hard to get through. And then he does, because he does. He clearly is in love with her. And then she accuses him of just saying it to get what he wants. And then he's like, nah, I'm like, I actually love you. And like, whatever. It's like, yeah, maybe like he does want to get some intercourse, but at the same time, he just manually blew up an entire air mattress in the woods for you.
Sure
dude.
did.
Like, just accept that he loves you, because why else would he do that? Everyone else is on the ground. She finally accepts his declaration of love after he does a cross your heart and hope to die thing. In parentheses, foreshadowing. Then she lets him slide a hand up the shirt. Oh, they're off to the races. Elsewhere, Skip is trying to get busy with Bobby. He says everyone else is doing it, but she is righteously upset. She's like, "No, you octopus, you don't deserve it after scaring me." Yeah, calling him an octopus.
Yeah, that's so good.
Well, he was gripping, trying to get some grips on, so it wasn't
gripped it and then ripped it.
He was attempting to grip it and rip it, but yeah, so she's still mad appropriately. He says, it was just a joke and you should have a sense of humor. It's like, good work, dude. Get defensive instead of apologetic. That'll help you out. She says she's not going to put out, and then she just like lays back and like, he's out. He's not ready. Oh, but wait a second. Our musical cues are telling us we're about to get some romance. We get some light woodwinds, some soft strings, and Joel and Nancy are having their romantic moment, just some smooching. Oh, it says here that it like lasts way longer than we wanted it to.
Yeah, it gets a little too like, and they get like, you again. This is where you can tell that they definitely were adult filmmakers.
Except that it's just like a couple people kissing for a really long time. I thought the opposite. I thought that they were just like, we paid Don Peak for this romance suite. They're just going to have to make out for the length of it, because we need to
do it. Yeah,
get our money's worth.
We got 3.5 minutes of this. We got to roll.
We got a lot of romantic music. We got to make use of it. It's going to happen here, because otherwise people are just going to be dying. Nothing romantic about that.
Sneak an animal in there too, you know.
just slide in a vulture or two.
Yeah.
But anyways, where were we? We were them kissing. Oh, back to Greg and Gail. They're making out hot and heavy. what was it? Oh yeah, now we go to Skip and Bobby. Skip tells Bobby it's her last chance, but she's like clearly asleep. It's like, all right. And then back to the romance, back to the soft music as Joel and Nancy are continuing to like make out, but like very, very PG-13 make out, buddy. This is like ninth grade dance make out. This is nothing serious. So don't get too excited, you pervs out there.
Yeah, Eric.
This is respectful. Yeah, that's Eric. This is respectful. So back to the hot and heavy, the Gail and the Greg. But do we have HPOV approaching, Shane?
I think we do.
Could it be?
Could also be HPV.
But he. Oh no! Well, that's what Greg and Gail are working on. But no, we get our standard heartbeat POV. We have, but here's the thing: the killer, despite all of his experience with the Myrtle, he overplays his hand. Gail sees him, and she stops Greg. Now, Greg isn't on board until some rustling starts. But I will say this: oh, come on, man! The audience can't see that because we're not doing a video podcast. But Shane just pulled up one of the shots of Joel and Nancy making out. It's like, yes, look at that! Just a nice close up of two faces smooching. But I wanted the point I wanted to get at though earlier, where I talked about Gail possibly seeing the killer in the woods behind her or not. This scene, she does see him, and
yeah.
I thought the better shot, the better option for this scene would have been if they had, pulled like a. Do you remember when? Did you see this part of what was it called? In a Violent Nature, when the killer's in the woods watching.
When they're around the campfire and it's like just an off. Like
yes, and he's just back there, and like if they had looked, they would have seen him. It would have been cool to have a moment like that where he's sitting back there, but you can't quite see him, or he's sitting back there and then he moves to the side before like Greg looks. Instead, we don't see anything as the audience, which I think is like kind of a detriment to this moment.
So, I mean, we could probably talk about this now a little bit. Like, I like when they don't show the monster or killer or whatever. I don't think it's done effectively here at all, ever. And then, like, when they do show, it's not. Well, no, I was just saying, like, whenever that does pay off, it's not, like, built up. So, I don't know. It just doesn't really hit well.
Well, I agree completely. I think that they rely too heavily on the POV shots, which is why I keep making fun of them so heavily. I also think that a moment like this, when Gail is seeing the killer, we should have a glimpse of the killer. Like, it doesn't have to be like, like
even a silhouette.
Like, let us see his outline, or like him from a distance moving away. And it's like, was that something? Was that not something? Like, there are ways to make that work. And it doesn't seem like the movie's interested in that, which is kind of a bummer. Like they're going by like what I always call the Jaws approach, right? The Jaws shark approach. It's like, show it as little as possible. Often quite effective. But you have to at least like imply that it's there, or get a sidelong glimpse at it, or like what's the Giallo version of that? Like, give me somebody with a trench coat and some gloves on, damn it. Let me see somebody's out there doing something. I don't have to know who they are or what they're doing, but give me something. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that the tension is usually, I feel like the POV shots are too often, that it doesn't really feel as tense as it should.
Right. If
you got like a glimpse here or there, and then less POV shots would be how I'd go. Like, we'll get in more in that in judgment categories, but yeah, so where was I? Oh yeah, the rustling had started, and that actually is like, Greg's like, oh, wait a second, something is going on. It must be some kind of animal. But as the rustling comes closer, Greg's like, okay, wait a second. I bet it's Skip about to play a joke on me. But then the scene cuts to the other two couples, both sleeping soundly. It's like, uh-oh. Hey, audience, in case you didn't know it's the killer, guess what? It's probably the killer. I'm not sure what you're doing with this screen share. You just showed me. That's Greg.
Yeah, it's like the scene.
Oh, this is what we're going to come up to. Well, not yet. Not till the lantern goes out. So, yeah, Greg gets up thinking that it's Skip. Again, we see the other couples. It isn't. Greg takes the lantern, leaving Gale behind in the dark. real man of people here. The only time Greg doesn't do something to help Gale out. We get some ominous high-pitched tones, which I know you enjoyed, as Greg's out there shouting for Skip, which, again, in the forest at night, it doesn't matter if they were, 100 yards away. They would hear him. like sound travels in the woods. But we get some more rustling as it approaches the now alone Gale. She's like, something's creeping me out here. So she puts her shirt back on, which is probably why the monster kills her. I'm kidding, but also possible. Like, that monster's a real freak.
We find out what his motives are later.
Yeah, we certainly do. But yeah, she's looking into the woods and shouting for Greg, and suddenly our HPOV man rolls in. Gale now does see him full on, but we're in his POV, so we don't. She's like trying to crawl backwards, screaming and stuff like that. Again, like, Greg is not far away, but he doesn't hear this. Fundamental misunderstanding of how sound travels in a place without any urban noise pollution, The killer uses the sleeping bag to smother Gale. It is a very long scene of her squirming, which actually made me a little uncomfortable the longer it went on. That was a lot. But yeah, she's eventually dead. So R.I.P. Gale. She's the first one out. Smash cut to Mark enjoying a Coors with his banjo, and then back to Greg. I don't know what that cut was.
I don't either.
I'll spend most of my life wondering why we cut back to Mark enjoying his Coors, unless Coors just paid for 2 scenes, so they needed 2 scenes with Coors. So yeah, back to Greg. He hears a hoot. Quick cut to an owl. There it is. In case you're wondering what made that owl sound, it was an owl. But then suddenly his lantern goes out. Oh no, ominous tones. He fumbles in his pockets for the matches. He's like, oh, I gotta get these matches. He finally gets one and he strikes it. And then once he strikes it, a half beat later, he gets grabbed from behind. We get some sharp electronic tones as a hand is holding onto his head and another hand comes to rip a ragged wound from his throat with its clawed hand. We get a little bit of him struggling as he dies, and it cuts back and forth between this and the nearby owl who's reacting and then flies away. He's like, absolutely not. The owl's like, I want no part of this. It's like, I never asked to be a part of this. Next morning, a nice establishing shot of a mountain, in case you forgot that we're in the mountains. And as it kind of pans backwards, it then pans down to Nancy and Joel. And then this is probably in a movie with a murderer and, a park ranger that won't take a gun outside with him, and with a group of people following an unmarked trail into the middle of nowhere. This is the most unrealistic thing in the entire movie. Do you know what it is, Shane?
I mean, no, I don't. Enlighten me, please.
It is that the fire is still lit in the morning. Get the hell out of here.
That's so true.
Ridiculous.
I didn't even think about that, dude.
The fire's still got flames. It's not even just that it's embers. It's still flames.
It's still fire.
It's absurd. I was so mad when I saw that. I was like, are you kidding me? These people truly have never been in a forest. This is absurd to me. Okay, well, it didn't bother you as much as it bothered me, but my God. Give me a burnt-up, clawed murderer who only mumbles and groans his way through his life, who's a hobbit in a wood somewhere killing local hikers, and then the authorities never investigate, even though he's been up to this since 1948. Fine. I'll take it. Yep. I'll take it all day. But you're telling me that a fire is lit all night and still has flames from 3 logs? Fuck off. Yep. No, that's not true. That's just not how this works.
It was a lame fire to begin with.
It wasn't even a good fire to begin with. It would have been out within an hour.
Yeah.
Within an hour. I'm so mad. Anyways, back to Mark, now without a banjo and in uniform, as he tells a story about a wide-mouthed frog to a baby deer.
At this point in the movie, I'm like, Mark's the killer.
I just thought this was more filler for no reason.
Dude, the fucking frog face he makes.
I don't even like, I don't like to do this for most movies, but let's sit here and break down this scene. So he's telling the story about the wide-mouthed frog. It's like, I don't know what to feed my babies. I'm going to go around. So he's doing faces and voices for all the characters as it moves through the wide-mouthed frog's like journey.
Yeah.
We don't see who he's talking to.
Correct.
So I assume maybe it's like some local kids, like a junior ranger group or something. It turns out it's a baby deer.
Sure is. He's holding there.
Well, he's like petting it, and it seems interested to be around it. Yeah, he's feeding it. Like, so this baby deer is like down to be around him. But then he finishes the story, and the deer doesn't react because it's a deer. And he's like, oh, well, I liked it when I heard it.
I thought it was funny when I heard it.
Yeah, it's like, it's a deer, dude. The fact that it's even hanging out with you is like a miracle. What are you talking about? What a moment, man. Like, why, like, that entire scene, why it has to be
smiling though with the mouth, like,
no, the way he does, like a full, so he's doing faces for this frog the entire time. So the wide mouth frog, he like smiles with a big wide grin and stuff like that. But he's talking to a baby deer. So we can't reiterate enough that this is a 80-minute movie that took the time to fake us out with him telling a story about a frog to a deer.
Yep.
All right. He decides he needs to go to work now after he's done telling his story to an unappreciative baby deer. Nancy is trying to wake Joel up with like an oak leaf to the face, it looks like. But then she eventually wakes him up with a kiss. Aww. Oh, bad news. Skip's rolling in to say Greg and Gail, ask if Greg and Gail told them anything about leaving early, which they hadn't. Skip says that, well, they're gone and all their gear and everything is gone. There's no trace of them. It's like, no trace? No trace?
And no one heard this? Like,
no one heard it?
She was straight up strangled in the campsite.
I more meant that there is definitely a trace because we see later that our man Mark can follow the trace.
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
well, he's not an idiot.
Skip's not exactly a tracker, I guess. But there is a trace in the like pine needles, right? Like pine needle flooring is where they have that. Yeah, so pine needle flooring. Yeah, put it in your house right now. But anyways. So back to Skip. Yeah, they left at the ranger station. This is kind of like another one of those like correlative moments. At the ranger station, there's a phone call coming in, but no one's there to answer it because Lester Tile isn't there. He's in the bathroom. We know this because he flushes the toilet and eventually wanders out. So a movie that, again, is 80 minutes, has time for a phone to ring, to no one answering it, to wait for a toilet flush, to have our man Lester Tile walk out here.
I felt like it needed like a sitcom entrance where everyone cheered or like did the clapping, like woo, when they figured out it was him.
Yeah, I can only assume that's why they put so much like suspense on his arrival. That it's like everyone's gonna lose their minds when it's.
I have an audience noise
whenever it's Jackie Coogan.
Yeah,
Jackie Coogan walks in, like the audience goes wild, like, hell yeah, he's responsible for the helping child stars not get taken advantage of by predatory family members. Hell yeah!
And we wasted his last moments on this. Hell yeah!
Hell yeah! I mean, his character is kind of funny, actually, in my opinion.
It is. He did a great job.
So,
the Coogster really brought it in on this one.
I mean, I feel like they wasted a lot of writing on a kind of funny moment too for him. So yeah. Anyways. Starting out serious, though. So Lester answers the phone. It's Sergeant Parson from Dover Police asking about Frank and Mary Sylvester. Lester assures Parsons that they will dispatch a ranger and find something out within the next day or two. And there's some backstory there, but I don't want to get too into it because who cares? But basically, Frank and Mary Sylvester are both teachers, and they've missed the first week of school, and everyone's like, they've never done this. They must be missing. And so that's why the cops are finally investigating it, because it must have been really easy to be a serial killer back then, because it's like, well, after a week or so, I guess we'll look into it.
Yeah.
Like, they are long dead, dude. They've been dead for so long. So, yeah. Then what I think is really funny is I don't know if they just, wanted to get as much screen time out of him as they could. But, then we have a nice long scene of Lester, pulling out his notebook and then the wilderness permit from the Sylvesters, and then just opening the permit to their names and then writing in his notebook their names. It's like, what? This is they're taking so much time. Then he finally stops and he has this concerned look, and he like starts to like probably contemplating like a series of disturbing like disappearances that have been happening, maybe from a murderous burned man in his mountains. Who knows what he's thinking? And we don't get to know right now because we're going to cut to a forest where the remaining couples are shouting for Greg and Gail. For how long does this last? Well, I'll tell you, in terms of shots we get while they're yelling, shots of trees, shots of streams, shots of a water skimmer, shots of a frog, shots of a lizard, including dramatic zoom.
Was it a wide-mouthed frog?
It wasn't. It was a regular one. Sorry to say.
Small-mouthed frog. You don't see many of those around here.
You don't, no. You didn't seem to appreciate the dramatic zoom on that lizard. Some kind of bird I didn't recognize. It might have been like it looked like blue jay shaped, but it wasn't blue enough to be a blue jay. So I'm like, I don't know what that is. Nancy eventually finds a tree covered in blood alongside the spent match from earlier, and also some ominous vultures are circling overhead. Shane,
can we take a second?
Shane, yeah, go ahead. I think you're about to say what I was going to say, so go ahead. I want to hear your
okay.
commentary.
So as children, a lot of us have played hide and seek. When the game's over and like you're done looking, you would usually shout "Ollie, Ollie, oxen free." Am I right?
Yeah, something like that.
This moron was yelling "Holly, Holly, home free." I'm like, I hope he dies.
Could be a regional variant.
Well, not my region.
But also, I thought he was just messing with them, honestly.
Yeah, it was so stupid. It's worse than chocolate.
That was chocolate. Holy, what was it? Holy, home free?
It was a Holly, Holly, home free instead of Ollie, Ollie, oxen free. It's like, there are no rights to that. No one owns the rights to Ollie, Ollie, oxen free.
I heard it here first, folks. It's something up to the level of
that made me
chocolate.
Mad. That made me so mad.
I just thought he was being a jerk and saying it wrong. So I didn't interpret it the same way you did.
Yeah, maybe the one time, but the 5 times after, and then jump cut to all the nature scenes and stuff. I'm like, I
was too focused on the creatures.
I'm over this asshole. Like, he needs to go.
I guess I was appropriately bamboozled by the nature footage that I didn't notice this any of the 3 times I watched this movie. But here's the thing. Here's the thing I was going to talk about.
Okay.
So yeah, we see like a huge blood stain on the side of a tree near the campsite and a match next to it. Like
that she doesn't tell anyone about?
Yeah. Nancy tells 0 people about this. And I remember I was like, what? And I like looked it up in like the Wikipedia description. It's like, she assumes that it was an animal attack. It's like, when did she assume it was an animal attack? She doesn't tell anyone. She just looks at it, looks up, sees some vultures, like, oh, well, I guess it happens. Must be animal related.
Nature does what it does.
Yeah, circle of life. It's path unwinding. Oh, yuck. But yeah, so back to the movie. Mark finally gets to work after telling a story to a local deer. He offers a sandwich to Lester. And then Lester's like, what kind of sandwich is it? Mark's like, oh, it's cucumber and cream cheese on oatmeal bread. And Lester is not on board with this. He's disgusted by it. Then he tells Mark that they have another lost couple. Another lost couple. I'm going to say that one more time. Another lost couple. So how many people are going missing here, and these 2 crack rangers haven't done shit about it?
Part 2 of me thinking it was Mark.
Except Mark can't be in 2 places at once. He's not. It's not even.
I understand that. I'm just saying like that. But like, we've seen weirder shit in movies. So like.
You know. Now, if they had a 3rd ranger who is maybe a little more of a wild card, maybe looked at, I don't know, pornography at work a lot.
Oh my God.
Maybe wore sunglasses all the time.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe. You ever heard of any kind of forest ranger like that, you know? Who like
seems like he's a New Hampshire, one of those New Hampshire cowboys, those mavericks out there.
One of those mavericks in New Hampshire, perhaps. Maybe meets a sad demise at the hand of a giant dinosaur monster. But yeah, no, so there's no 3rd ranger here. It's just these 2 jags. Mark is, so the missing couple's there. Mark is very dismissive for being as smart of a guy as I thought he was at first. He's like, how long are they overdue? Lester's like, a week. And then Mark's, I probably decided to stay another week. He's like, so Lester, you can't tell them about the whole thing the cops told you about how they are very strict about their work schedule and their teachers and they should be back teaching right now. But no, Lester isn't going to because he's too psyched about these sandwiches.
Yeah, he's rolling on.
Lester's back on his sandwich mode, and he's like, are they any good? And Mark's like, they are, and gives him some. Lester does dig it. He likes that sandwich. He tells Mark that North Point is a real spooky place, and then we cut to the gang hiking as ominous clouds pass overhead. Now, do those ominous clouds become a storm or anything important? No, they're just there for that one scene to enunciate that this is a scary place. Lester then decides to do the what should have been the earlier campfire story of the lore of the campfire. Instead, we get it Lester telling Mark it, so our campers, our protagonists, never know why they're being murdered. Lester tells Mark the story from 15 or 20 years prior that apparently Lester had been involved in fighting that forest fire that we saw in our opening scrawl. It was the worst in local history, and a bunch of, okay, I'm going to put this in air quotes, not my words, words of the movie, a, quote, bunch of gypsies, unquote, lived in a cave as poachers, and they were burnt to death in this fire. So, why do they have to be, again, quote unquote, that? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why do they have to be, was it necessary for them to be gypsies? Like, what does it add to the story for them to be gypsies? That makes no sense.
I have no idea.
Yes. And that's why you asked earlier. It's like,
Just
was
because
there
they're
like
like transient? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, no one else could be homeless in, like, the Pacific Northwest?
Right.
No one else could be homeless in Colorado? I can show you a homeless encampment in Pittsburgh right now. We could go there. But I won't take you if you're going to burn it, though. So don't ask. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know if that was like to add mystique or to, I don't know. I honestly, actually, I don't know if I want to add that kind of evil to this movie, but because of the history of the Romani people and the people they interact with, I wonder if it's to, like, keep us from feeling bad because it's, like, a historically, like, maligned group. So it's like, oh, of course
Possibly,
this murderer is othered in some way because you'd feel bad for them otherwise. But, because they're this group, we don't feel bad. Now I'm bummed out. I didn't want that. I was having fun with this movie until that. Shane, why'd you let me think that? Oh, well. So the firefighters, what am I supposed to do? Stop and, like, figure this out? I can. The firefighters had later found the entire community burnt to a crisp in the cave. And apparently they were burnt so bad that they were all, like, melted together. And I'm like, this movie didn't have this tone earlier. But I was thinking how they people were so melted together they couldn't be separated. I'm like, ugh, that's gross. Mark is so grossed out by the details, though, that he seems uninterested in his sandwich. And Lester's like, oh, so you're going to finish that? And Mark's like, no, and gives it to him. Like, was that why he told this horrific story, was to get the sandwich? It definitely seems like it. And then Lester finishes the story saying that later, when they were sent to replant that part of the forest, he saw a young boy all burnt up who had run away into the brush. And he was like, I could have sworn that boy was burnt. Oh, it's like the Burning Junior.
Yeah.
But yeah, to save Lester from needing to go back up and investigate, Mark offers to go to North Point for him. Lester tries to spin it as a good thing, saying, hey, at least you can hang out with those kids from California. And it's like, I saw you making eyes at them girls. Some of them are lookers. I'm like, okay, dude. It's like, he also has a job to find missing people. But then Lester tells Mark he should bring, the 30-06 with him in case there's a bad bear. And Mark's like, a gun? Pshaw, I shan't. I will take a tranquilizer gun instead. And this is what we shall henceforth call Chekhov's trank gun. Did you like how I stumbled over that to try to get there because I was so excited to get to it?
Yeah.
Chekhov's trank gun. Because it is not going to be great for him. Then we have like a juxtaposition of Mark getting the trank gun as the others are hiking. and then sudden zoom into a mountain. I'm like, okay. And then we get a sudden peaceful valley excursion for Mark. I'm like, is this the same biome? It definitely looks like he's in like a random valley. But then suddenly he's in forest. I'm like, okay, he's back in where we expected him to be. It's been a minute. Let's get some more HPOV shots. Also in a forested area, suggesting that, is he stalking Mark? Well, he's not, but we're as an audience, we're like,
Sure.
is he?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is he?
Is he?
Is Mark the killer?
No. I never got that. But no time for
No,
murderous...
I didn't.
Shane, please. No
What?
time for murderous intrigue. We have to smash cut to Skip sliding down a rock into some water and then telling the girls currently in their bathing suits to come on in because the water is fine. Also, why would you slide down a rock? Wouldn't that
I
hurt
don't
so
know.
bad?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a very slippy rock. But then it does, in fact, cut back to Mark in the woods. So it's okay. So we're going both ways. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You have to stop doing images that the audience can't see for me because it makes me want to comment on it. And I cannot comment on that because they do not see it. But then it does cut back to Mark in the woods. He's walking. But then back to the couples now all of them are in the watering hole. They're splashing each other, jumping around in circles, having a good time. Skip pops out with like some kind of weird eyeball things on to scare them. It's just a good old time. Mark then comes upon where the others had left the note for Greg and Gail. And he pulls it off and reads it and then doesn't return it. I'm like, dude, what if they were, in fact, elsewhere? He will find out that he was correct to take it. But then he consults a map to figure out his route. We, as the audience, are sad we paid for our entire seats when we're on the edge of them, watching him do some cartography here. Cut back.
Yeah, it was breakneck pace at this point. This is the point where it's just like they're definitely filling time.
I just like that. Like you look at the map and you see it. It's like, okay, cool. We've established map. Moving on, right? Oh no, we're gonna sit and stare at this map a little longer. He's gonna move it around a little. Oh no, he's gonna pull out a weird device and look through it. Oh no, is that like a sextant but for land? What is this?
Yeah, right.
In any case, we have to go back to Joel and Nancy. They're on a rock and she's shampooing his hair, and then they make out in a really uncomfortable position. Young love. But hold on, that you're back on the edge of your seat now because Mark's back to planning his routes more. Oh no, HPOV. Where is it? We don't know. It doesn't matter. It's just another cutaway. Nothing matters.
Bunch of heartbeats.
None of this matters. Is it to the beat of the drum, Shane? Back to the youths. Everyone is now dressed in regular clothes as Nancy is asking Joel if he will change his mind about whatever he's about to do. And then Bobby apologizes to Skip about the previous night and says that this night will be different. And Skip is like, hell yeah, let's go, Joel. Let's get out of here so we can get back tonight. Because intercourse, Shane. Get it?
I do get it.
Yes. Joel tells Nancy that he won't hurt himself, so let him go. Don't be such a nag. So they dip. Intrepid explorer Mark actually does find some intrepid thing, which is he finds the drag marks from earlier when we saw Gail getting dragged off by the killer. Did I mention that? Did I talk about that when it happened?
I don't know. I don't think so. We talked about her getting strangled, and then he did clean up the site very quickly, and then drug her off. Right?
Yeah, he took both of
in
them
the fishnet.
Yeah, he dragged her in a fishnet.
We didn't talk about that.
Oh, I thought it was in my notes though. Oh, okay. It was after I talked about the lizard with Zoom, and then I talked about Nancy finding the tree covered in blood and the vulture circling overhead. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, I kind of skipped that entire section, actually, didn't I?
Not really.
I did skip that entire section because Joel and Skip come back. Then we show Gail's body being dragged into it by a net into on the forest floor, again with HPOV doing it. Then they get to the campsite and they discuss what to do next. And I didn't talk about how they left the note because like everyone, Nancy's concerned because she found the blood, but she never tells them that. And Bobby says, well, Gail's dizzy. And then Skip's like, well, Greg had followed Gail anywhere. So they're like, they must have left. So they take a vote about whether they will continue the trip or stop and then head back. And they'd vote to continue the trip because Nancy gives in to peer pressure. She doesn't want to ruin the...
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I missed that entire section. I had to rush to that part where Mark brought that cucumber sandwich, man. I was so excited about it. So when I talked about how Mark found the note, it made no sense because I hadn't talked about the note yet. And the movie's so rich with incident. How am I supposed to keep track of everything that's happening, Shane? I simply can't. It's simply too good. So yeah, Mark finds the drag marks from where Gail was dragged off earlier. Nancy and Bobby are now once again in bathing suits, laying out in the sun on some rocks. Like, they change back into their clothes just to say goodbye to the guys and then get back into their bathing suits. HPOV is out there somewhere. It's unclear if he's targeting the women or the men on the hike or Ranger Mark on his hunt. Who's he going to target? Nancy hears something somehow and asks if Bobby did, but Bobby tells her to relax. And they don't notice that they're being watched by presumably the murderer, except he doesn't attack them. So I don't know if that's a fake out zoom or what. Joel and Skip come to their destination, which is like a huge rock face they plan to rappel down. So that was why Nancy was so concerned, because they're about to take a perilous trip down the side of a rock face. Skip whoops over the edge, which gets to Mark, but not to Nancy and Bobby somehow. The music picks up as Mark finds some foliage. Okay. Or I remember this. So he finds the foliage and he nods, noticing something about it. We get a quick establishing shot of Joel and Skip preparing to rappel, putting their straps on. Is there actually some interesting cuts of showing like they're gearing up like they're Batman or something? They do a flip to see who goes first. It ends up being Joel, which to me seems like it shouldn't be him because he's the experienced repeller. So shouldn't the less experienced repeller go first? I don't know much about rappelling, but it seems to me like you want your most experienced person at the top, keeping things safe. But whatever, man. We don't have time to worry about that. We have to do a quick high zoom shot from down to Nancy and Bobby, and Nancy's looking up at something as the camera zooms in on her, and the camera shows us it's buzzards again. Ah, the buzzard, the symbol of death. Then we see where the buzzards are, which is also accompanied by buzzing flies. So you know it's a gruesome scene. Back to the rock face. Joel begins his descent. Skip looks on. Okay, who cares? Mark arrives at where the buzzards are. I'm so not interested in this rappelling scene. What a dumb thing.
So, well, it does pay off, but
it pays off not for them. Not for they.
For the audience.
Oh, for us? Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Back to... Mark's about to find some bodies. Let's talk about Mark finding some bodies.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do some bodies.
All right. Mark comes upon where the buzzards are feeding, and apparently he's disgusted by what he's observing, because it's dead bodies. I hate these cuts. Joel continues his descent. But Skip doesn't notice there's HPOV right behind him. Exclamation point. Mark uncovers the foliage that's laying near whatever's attracting the flies and buzzards and finds the body of none other than Gail herself. And it's already been partially picked over and it's rotting. It's kind of gross. That was actually an impressive body. Well, not impressive body in like attractive way, like impressive to corpse work.
Sure.
So we get a quick flashback of when Mark met Gail, in case we forgot to 15 minutes ago when that happened in the actual plot of the movie, but 60 minutes ago in terms of actual time. Sharp stings happen as the scene cuts to all the nearby hungry vultures as Mark frantically looks to them as they're perched on their tree branches, ready to feast. And then he cuts, it's like really crazy because it cuts to them, then him looking around, and then Gail's body, then them, and then him again. It's a real situation. Then Mark goes to shoot the buzzards, but then there's a voiceover from Lester warning him he should bring a real gun. Shouldn't have brought a trank gun.
That was pretty funny.
Could have wasted all those buzzards. So yeah, is this the Chekhov's trank gun? No.
No.
This is just reminding us that it's there.
You wish.
Yeah. Back to the thrill-a-minute scene of Joel descending and Skip watching him. Literally, they cut to this so many times.
It's so dumb.
You keep laughing at him, but like it's so stupid. Like he's barely.
It is so stupid.
Oh man, this guy's rappelling down a mount face. Better hold on. Might go
Better
crazy.
get our money's worth. The
I know.
stunt
Like,
guy.
do they pay a bunch of money to the stunt guy to do this? It's like, well, they're going to show a lot of scenes of it then. But now it actually does become interesting. So the killer, the HPOV is behind Skip still, and then it finally approaches him and picks him up. And while it's holding him, it twists his neck the entire way around.
It was pretty gnarly.
Mortal Kombat fatality style, dude.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was actually very well done. And then the killer's like, oh, but my work here is not done. He has a French accent suddenly. He's like, he starts to yank on Joel's ropes, being like, what's all this then? Joel yells up. It's like, what are you doing? And he looks up and sees that it's not Skip. But again, the audience doesn't see. Even this would be a good scene if they showed a POV shot from down the mountain face, looking up, and he sees a figure that is clearly not Skip. But we don't have to see the details. That'd be a great shot to show us the killer, you know?
Would have been.
But yeah, noticing that it is not Skip, Joel tries to descend faster, but the killer is like, oh, well, I have this knife somehow, even though I live in a forest. And this pristinely taken care of knife is here. And he cuts the rope with like a single slash, sending Joel falling to his death. Scream comes from him that both Mark and Nancy and Bobby hear. So Nancy and Bobby get dressed, start running up the rock face. Mark's also moving in that direction, but like, not as fast because he just looked at a corpse. He's having a rough day.
He's having a moment.
Yeah. Hopefully his day doesn't get any rougher. Nancy and Bobby find Skip's body.
Right.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Nancy and Bobby find Skip's body, neck snapped all the way around. I can't stress enough that his head is the entire way around.
It was cool because they showed his body like stomach down.
Yeah.
But his head was pointed up.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like
and then she does
head back, ass up is what we call
and
that.
Then she that's my favorite thing is she goes over and like just pokes him, like checks if he's alive.
I literally have that in my notes. Is she like checking his pulse right now? His head's the entire way around.
Fucking wrong way. She like just pushes him a little bit, like, hey, buddy.
Yeah, hey, you good? Like, absolutely not. Yeah, I put that in my notes. It's like, it looks like she's trying to check for a pulse. He's obviously dead. And Bobby has probably the best reaction. She's just yarking in the corner. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh. She's like, she's not for this. She didn't need to get up close to check for a pulse to know he's dead. But yeah, Nancy then finds the cut rope and she realizes that Joel's dead and none of this is an accident, as if the guy whose neck was twisted the entire way around could have happened on accident. But the killer finally produces himself to reveal to the women that he exists. Nancy's the only one who sees him at first. She's backed up to where Bobby's still puking. And we still, again, don't see him. And this would have been a good place to reveal him, I feel like, rather than later. This would be a good place for it. So Nancy goes, grabs Bobby's hand. Bobby's like, I'm trying to throw up here. And then she sees the killer. And she's like, oh, absolutely. And so they run. And they're shouting during their flight. Mark hears them and heads in that direction with renewed urgency. It's actually some interesting chase music here as they're running through the forest. They're, the running isn't that interesting because we only see them. We don't see the bad guy. But there's like some interesting mix of shots until, in my opinion, towards the end, where there's like that stylized slow motion scene.
Sure.
It's like, that doesn't really fit here. Bobby doesn't want to run anymore though after that, and Nancy insists and like forces her to start by like pulling on her. And then, Shane, we get Chekhov's snare. Bobby steps directly onto the snare trap. It triggers. It lifts her and smashes
launches
her
ass.
Yeah, launches her into a tree upside down. It looked to me like she impaled herself on some of the branches too. Like she got jacked up by that thing.
She did.
It kills her instantly. It was so funny. Yeah, after all this time, we'd forgotten that snare.
Well, and then it cuts away, and you see the tree stand up straight, and then it cuts to her.
Oh yeah, like that
slamming
entire
into
tree was like bent
like
over. It,
fucking Looney Tune level, like
Like it pulls her that she probably would have snapped her neck from it. It was so fast.
100%. Yeah, because it wasn't like it wasn't just like a little tree. It was like a 20-foot pine tree.
It was like a younger tree than it should have been.
Yeah.
It took considerable force to set that snare somehow, which I can't believe that the killer somehow had. And yet here we are. But it also looked like some of the branches on the lower part were broken off, so I thought she had like a hole in her head,
like a punji pit.
Yeah, like she got her face smashed into like this like branch. But Nancy is like observing her dead friend's suspended corpse and understandably upset, so she's crying a bunch. The murderer finally arrives from the trees. We finally get to see him a little bit. She's backing away, crying, begging for him not to hurt her. Yeah, the same old, same old. But yeah, let's do. Now we're gonna see the full body shot once Mark comes out. Mark comes out of the trees. He has his dart gun. Man, it would have been great if he had that rifle. So he has a dart gun. He shoots at the corpse. And how would you describe the full body look of the killer we finally get?
He's in like a black like jumpsuit, like a almost like a.
See, I thought it was
turtleneck,
like a nice dark blue sweater.
Was it blue? It could be.
It was like a dark navy blue sweater.
Yeah.
And then like some dark gray, like charcoal gray, like slacks, like but not slacks, more like maybe a work pant kind of thing.
Here we got technology.
Like cloth pants. Yeah, so a dark blue, like kind of snug, but very pristine sweater. And then some.
Yeah, and then like black like cargo pants, kind of, or like almost like exercise pants, maybe.
Yeah, like cloth workout pants kind of thing, like beating around pants.
Also severely burnt.
Oh, I mean, all of them's burnt.
If anyone was worried.
Yeah, he's super burnt, no question about it. But I just thought it was funny that his clothes were so nice. Like they look very kempt for a guy who lives in a forest and eats local. Or I don't know if he eats the people. Definitely kills them. Actually, the fact that Greg and Gail were just thrown into like a ravine for the vultures suggests that he in fact wasn't eating them. But yeah, he's got like some burns. He's got some bloody wounds. He's a pretty gross looking dude.
Sure is. Also huge.
He's a gigantic man.
Massive.
Yeah. But we don't have time to think about his clothes, Shane. Stop it. We don't have time for this. Because Mark decides to charge at the killer and tackles his legs to bring him down. So he like somersaults into his legs, bowls him over, picks up a large stick and smashes it over the killer's head, seemingly incapacitating him. And then he goes to comfort Nancy. Now, Shane, how long would you say he waited between hitting this dude in the head with a stick and comforting Nancy?
Enough to make a bad decision.
I would say he waited
a second.
0.1 second.
Yeah, he instantly turned.
Turned instantly.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how that goes for him. As soon as he goes to Nancy, and she's sitting against a tree, kind of barely responsive, he like kneels down to her, is immediately grabbed by the throat from behind by the killer as like the loud music stings come back to us. Not even a second late. Like the dude clearly just got back up after that. He wasn't incapacitated at all. He hit him in the face with a stick and the guy just got back up and he just wasn't looking.
And it broke.
It did break. It broke, which suggested it wasn't actually a very strong stick. So he needed a better stick. So yeah, he picks up Mark, is like choking him by the neck. He's like bleeding out the mouth. Like he's done. He's done Zilla. So he throttles Mark to death. You know, he's dead. Now Nancy's helpless against the tree. She's screaming as the killer's approaching her with his like clawed hands. And she thinks the killer's going to kill her. She's like trying to say, don't kill me or whatever. But then the killer, like,
his gaze softens.
His gaze softens. He has like a little crooked smile, and his hands, instead of like grabbing, like clawing at her, like go to wrap around her back and embrace instead. Oh no, Shane, why? Smash
Not
cut.
like this.
Smash cut to later. You can tell because it's winter because there's snow. There's Shane. There's Shane on the ground.
There's Shane everywhere.
There's snow on the ground. We get some more forest establishing shots, so we know that there's winter happening. Then even later, we get birds chirping. It's spring. Hooray, the spring has come. Flowers are blooming. Some
Crickets.
butterflies are enjoying some repose on flowers.
A grasshopper.
There's a grasshopper, yes.
Yeah.
How could any of this be sinister? Oh, wait, Shane, I can tell you how. The camera's going to zoom into the mountain, and as it zooms closer, we get to a cave opening, and we hear the sound of a baby laughing from inside the cave, suggesting a pretty uncool ending here.
Which is what?
That they got married and adopted a kid.
Yeah, right.
You know the ending they're implying, and it's yuck. So, the Prey. I'm sorry, I don't pray that way.
Yeah.
Anyways, there you go, The Prey. A really cool
We did it.
movie until that part of the end where it decided to be gross.
Part 1.
There's no part 2, though.
No, of our Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon.
Oh, yeah. So that concludes part 1 of our Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon. Except we have so many things to do, Shane. We have not even begun to fight. I really like that. Do you see that what the movie poster for this movie said?
Which one? There's a bunch.
The one that I saw, the main one, says, here, I'll read the tagline to you. It's not human.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
It's not human, and it's got an axe.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Literally kills 2 people with the axe at the beginning. Literally kills no other.
And literally is human.
Yeah, and is a human. So many things about this are incorrect.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, how about we move on to our next category, which is what? You good?
No, I'm good. I was just like doing the
Oh,
shifty look.
Looking around. It's none other than the McMurder of the movie. Wow, wow.
I have thoughts.
I do too, and I'm definitely not going to agree with you, so we can just get that out of the way right now.
I have 2 that I would settle with.
I have 2 as well I could settle with.
The first is the snare. That's insane to me. That's so funny. That set up, and it's so early in the movie. And
It's set up so early in the movie, yes.
I'm like, okay, this paid off.
Yes, I do love Chekhov's snare. You can't go wrong with that one.
But man, twisting that dude's head the whole way around, and then he just falls, and then they go up and like, hey, you okay? Like
the aftermath of that kill.
That did a lot for me.
The aftermath of the kill was way better than the kill, though. But it is kind of crazy. He just picks him up. He's like, well, I guess I'll twist your head the entire way around.
Yeah.
Like effortlessly. Like, where's this man getting all his protein? He must be jacked as hell.
Right.
So that was your other one. My other one, though,
Can I guess?
Yes, you can.
Is it the axe?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It is actually Greg. And the reason that this kill is Greg is because it actually scared me.
Okay.
So it's the kill where he lights the match, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And most jump scares, the scare happens when you light the match. As soon as he lights
Sure.
it, he gets grabbed. But it like waits a beat. He like lights the match. It takes a second, and then he gets grabbed. So I was like expecting it to happen at the match, and it didn't. And I was like, oh, never mind. And that like half beat,
It got you.
like that beat on the third, happened so off kilter that I was like, oh, all right. And I thought the effect was good. Like it tore like this ragged flesh out of his throat. Like it looked good. I really liked that one. So that is mine. But let's take after New York City, who just had ranked choice voting for their primary for their mayor. And I ranked Greg as number 1. You ranked Skip as number 1. But we both ranked Chekhov's snare as number 2. I think that we have our winner.
But I would concede because I forgot about the Greg one, and you are correct. That was really cool. And I like that it got you. It didn't get me. But I also expected it right away. I thought it was going to light the match and the creature would have been there. And for me, that's why I was like, oh man, I was hoping it was just going to be like, I don't know,
So because
cooler.
it being offbeat, actually it missed you because it was offbeat. And
Yeah.
because it was offbeat, it got me. He's like, lights hit, and I was like, oh, never mind. Oh, okay. It's like just that 1 second of like,
Yeah.
this creature's like been living alone in a cave his entire life, but at least he has a sense of drama.
I'll take the Greg one if we can admit that the Chekhov snare was probably the most ingenious kill that we've had so far. Like elaborate wise, like in terms of like setup and payoff, like it's insane to me that. And then like the chances of them walking through this entire national forest to step on that snare, like just doubles down on Chekhov's snare. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's almost as good as the sword in Chud, and then they use the sword later.
I actually, the more that you talk about it, I feel like we should give it to Chekhov's snare because we're the last second, like, and it was set up so early in the movie that like we could have forgotten about it. It could have never mattered.
100%. I'm like, what is this garbage? Because at that point it's just bounced around between animals and shit. Like,
well, the initial setup of the snare, what makes it so brilliant is we as an audience have an unseen killer. We see his hands as he's working on the snare.
yeah,
So we don't think it's showing us a setup for later in terms of snare. We think it's showing us the killer's hands to give us an idea of what our killer is like.
sure.
Then it becomes Chekhov's snare when it gets Bobby. So I'm inclined.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm inclined to say Chekhov's snare.
I mean, I'll take it, dude, because it was such a wild kill.
Yeah.
And then the shot of the tree standing straight up again, like Looney Tune launching her into another tree.
Yeah, they had to do that to a tree. They had to actually do that to a tree. So yeah, no, I'm gonna say Chekhov's snare. I've changed my vote.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Ranked choice voting. At least we prevented Andrew Cuomo from being our McMurder of the movie.
Democracy works. Sometimes.
Very rarely. All right. Man, that is actually I'm very, very happy about that McMurder of the movie, actually. I'm glad you talked me into it. It
was so good. The first time I saw it, I'm like, I gotta rewind this. And then I'm like, wait, was that what he was doing in the beginning with the snare? Because like initially, like I thought, oh, he's just catching food or something, and that's how they're gonna stumble upon him or something. I did not expect that payoff. So,
no, you're absolutely right. That was an
Love
incredible moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but now we have to move on to the judgment category.
Yeah, just like that. Actually, that's who told you?
So as everyone knows, well, maybe not. We've been on such a hiatus.
I know. Hiatus.
We in judgment categories, we do a letter grade for story, acting, effects, music, which can include sound, and cult factor. Cult factor being that little X factor that makes these movies so special. So let's kick it off with story.
Okay. I was trying to get the camera to move, the dramatically pan over to me. Did you see what I did?
It did pan a little.
Yeah. Well, I did it and I like leaned. So like pull. Anyways. I think that even with how weird some of those things are, I kind of really like the story. I mean, I'm not into the whole like, oh, we had gypsies in a cave kind of thing, but I don't know. I felt B, man. Like, it had a direction. It went that direction. It was kind of zany, too much so at some points, and like what I thought was going to be like a negative, the animals like spliced in animal shots. Like, I don't know where that goes. I guess it would have to be story, right? I don't know. It was pretty I don't know where to throw that in, but like, dude, it was pretty awesome. Cause like the first time it happens, and I joked like earlier, I said there's one time where there's no theme, and it was when it was the bears thing, where Bobby's like bears, and it just cuts to a black bear and then cuts back. I'm like, oh my God. It kind of gets you into the, like, what you're in for.
It just gives you an idea that animals are going to happen.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what you feel like, but I walked away feeling B on this one, but I could be persuaded either direction.
I didn't actually think about putting the animal stuff here. But
okay, where did you think about it then?
This is a story decision as to cut between the animals. I was like, where do I put it in effects? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Music.
Oh man, I have to put the animals here. I'll put it at B. I was gonna go C because I'm like, okay, so killer in the woods, a bunch of young people going to the woods. There's a ranger who probably knows a little bit about what's going on. Another ranger that's more of an idealist who doesn't know what's going on and plays the banjo for some reason. It's like, I thought it was very basic. But if you add animals to it, you give me a shot of a, random hawk.
Salamander.
Yeah, give me a salamander on the ground. Give me a snake crawling out of something. Give me that
a caterpillar that can step at 10 pounds per square inch on each foot.
Walking, a very loud walking centipede. Give me like that red-tailed hawk that is just chilling. What was the one that I really liked? Fake spider.
Fake spider.
Yeah, give me that not nearby here spider. Like this
tarantula.
It's not a local tarantula. There was a local centipede. There certainly wasn't a local tarantula. Give me that unidentified bird I saw. I don't know what kind of bird that is, but it's here. Give me that entire squad of buzzards, because at least they're not racist like those crows in Dumbo.
True.
You have to take some stuff as they come. So yeah, I guess I'll give it B. I was gonna give it C, but the animals brought it to B. So
yeah, it's like zany enough, it works. I guess
it keeps you invested. It kept me interested in what was otherwise random.
The pain I feel, and we bring this up almost every time, of how soft we are on some of these movies, and then like you go back and listen to The Howling 2, Your Sister's a Werewolf, and we were just like shitting on that movie, and I just feel so bad because like it probably didn't deserve it, but yeah, so fair enough.
Yeah, we've become a lot nicer, but here we are.
Yeah.
We can't stop now. So yeah, for story/writing, we're going to give it a B. Next up is acting.
What are you feeling?
I'm actually surprised by how strong the performance was for our final girl. What's her name? Debbie Thurston. Considering how few credits she has, I thought her performance was quite strong. Joel's was fine, as a little heavy-handed. And then, speaking of heavy-handed, Skip, Robert Wald, very heavy-handed. Greg was almost a non-presence, Philip Winkus. Gail she played her part, but it was very frustrating. And I feel like the only one who wasn't given like a clear identity was Bobby, Lori Lathan, which is surprising because she's the one with more credits than basically all of them except like Steve Bond, who played Joel. So, and I guess we can give like Captain Marvel his flowers for telling a story to a baby deer. It takes a lot of chops to make that believable.
It was weird.
I don't know, man. It's not great. Lester Tile, Jackie Coogan's final role, really into cucumber and what is it, cottage cheese sandwiches or whatever he was eating.
Cream
cheese. Yeah, sorry. What's the difference between cream cheese and cottage cheese? I guess
flavor.
Chunks.
Shame.
I do like how Lester Tile, though, clearly knew there's more afoot here. It's like, let me tell you a story, just so you can eat part of that sandwich and send you to your death. Although in his defense, he did say bring a gun with you.
He's all about reducing head count, so he's
got to keep overhead low. He predicted that eventually Doge would show up and fire all people who work in parks. So he's like, can't have you get here and get a career. I don't know, man. There's no one who's bad, really. Like everyone, like I talked about how I didn't like Skip, but I didn't like Skip because of his character, not because of the acting. He's just an obnoxious jerk. So I don't know. I don't know where to go. Do I go to C?
C?
C for average?
Yeah.
C
the
for
letters for.
cacting. Yeah, I think we'll go with C. There's a couple of people who are pulling their weight a little more than others, but overall it was pretty serviceable. All right. Well, next up is effects.
I can't believe this was a Beekler joint. Some of the stuff was really good, and some of it was kind of dumb. I don't know if that was a budget thing. The dead bodies looked awesome. Like the corpses, especially like after Mark finds like the bodies like Gale's and stuff. And I thought it was a cool scene where she kind of like he's hallucinating, she's kind of moving and like looking at him. I did like the twisting head around thing. I thought that was amazing. I don't want to steal all the moments, like, so give you some time to talk, but you know, I try to be as nice as I can about effects. I'm gonna go B on this one. I don't know if, so the problem is, I don't know if it was just the choice to not show the monster that is getting me so hung up on effects. Because, like, again, he's in, like, nice clothing. It was just kind of weird. Some choices they made just didn't really fly with me. But, again, the decapitation kill was pretty good. You know, the grabbing Mark at the end and just crushing him, basically, was pretty good. I just don't think, like, I don't think I can give it an A just because I just felt like they just didn't utilize their time or effort correctly, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of the kills were good. Just not great.
Right.
I will say that the snare kill, like watching her hanging off that thing, was like pretty. That's pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
The rotting corpse though of like Gale's corpse, that one was when I was like, man, that looks like a corpse. Like that is crazy.
Yeah, it looks good.
You didn't touch on though Greg's throat rip, did you? Or did you? Did I miss
I
it?
didn't.
Yeah, Greg's throat rip I thought looked really good. The way it
did.
tore into his throat like that.
It was a close up too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's probably where like Beekler put most of his effort. He's like, I get one on screen full frontal kill.
Sure.
I'm taking this one. Like I'm using this one. But yeah, I would agree that the makeup on the killer wasn't great. He was kind of like, you know, he looked burned, but he didn't look awful.
It kind of looked like a mask.
Yeah, it looked like they like the prosthetics were so thick that I couldn't tell like much about the man underneath.
Right.
Yeah, which I didn't care for that. So yeah, I'm comfortable giving it a B. I really do think that the strength of it mostly comes for me from Greg's death, and then from the Chekhov's snare, because that snare, like when she gets picked up and it smashes her face into the tree and then just is hanging there. Because like we didn't say much about that to the audience, but like there's literally like an entire scene of this scene of Bobby hanging,
just dangling
from the tree, and our main character Nancy is so like overcome that she can't even move. She's just like babbling like asking Bobby to move, like Bobby, Bobby, you're okay.
She doesn't understand dead well. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's on her parents a bit, but like, you know, everything went to the farm when she was little, apparently. So,
and we did actually see Joel's body after it hit the ground, hit the rocks at the bottom.
Yeah.
So
that
was a
good.
pretty decent dead body.
Yeah, it was.
So it does feel like one of those movies that, like, they put a lot more effort into like the aftermath of the kill than the kill itself. So I feel like that was probably a budgetary thing, which is why they use so much of their effort on Greg's kill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like the only thing that keeps it at B for me I don't even want to fight to get higher than that is the monster guy's makeup. Like it just wasn't good. So yeah,
the hands were pretty good though. Like the hands looked good.
The hands looked good. Yeah.
Yeah. I just felt like, I don't know. I feel like they just missed the mark on the design of the face. The head twist was gnarly.
The head twist was good.
It bunched the skin up and stuff. Like it looked great.
Cracking open a cold one with the boys, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, effects is B then. We did it. Now, time for music and sound.
What are you feeling?
Well, animal sounds rule. Loved every second of them. Give me a dank ass cricket any day of the week.
Hell yeah.
But I liked this music a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Even the annoying high pitched screeching parts, because they're meant to like ratchet up tension.
It was like disorienting.
I actually think a lot of the tension was the heavy lifting for the tension was being done by the music.
I would agree.
Yeah, but I did feel a little bit of tonal whiplash whenever you get to those like soft woodwinds and strings scenes of like the romance part. It's like, whoa, what movie am I in? Then we get back to the horror movies, like tones. I'm like, hell yeah, we're in tone zone.
Crank it back up.
So I might make a swing here. I might say A.
Okay.
Because I actually did like the ragged breathing of the killer, and I liked his forlorn cry, even though I kind of made fun of it. I did like that. That to me was a very effective way of like teasing him as a force.
Yeah, and it wasn't the sound's fault that they chose to use the killer poorly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounded good. Like, and it was,
And
I like the music.
yeah, Dawn Peak's music, like whenever they're running, whenever they're just like enjoying some time, whenever there's nothing in particular going on. Like you can tell that he's like blending all these different styles. Like whenever there is, it's like, oh, time for my tones, time for my ominous tones. And he hits them,
He does.
I don't know. I'm going to go A or B. I'm leaning towards A, but I can be talked down to B.
I like A. I think it was good. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but there was a lot of like kinetic sound. Like when they cut the rope, it had a good sound. When he hit the mountain, it had a good sound. They didn't do a ton of Foley work, or if they did, I couldn't tell, which is always good. I really liked it. I thought, again, I didn't like the romance scenes. Like I said, you can tell that these people are from the adult film industry, which is how they set the scenes up and the music and stuff. But outside of that scene, I thought the music hit really well. So I'm cool with it.
A gets an A. And that brings us to the cult factor, that little X factor that makes these movies so special. It's usually a gimme category, so I don't know where you're feeling, though.
I mean, you got head twist, you got snare kill, you got terrible campfire story, you got a dude talking to a deer. I mean, this kind of has it all. You know what I mean? You've got owl shot, vulture shot, cricket shot, grasshopper shot, salamander, snake eating salamander.
Boo.
The guy's a great fisherman.
Yeah,
there's so many good things going on for this.
What helps to push it up in the cult factor for me is the fact that it is like a cool like 80 minutes and like half of it is just shots of animals. It's like almost just a nature documentary, just like with a slasher movie around it. Yeah,
I'm telling you. I think so, and like I was just Googling some thoughts on this, like when we were just talking about the guy that what was his name? Gary Gora, or what was Gordo? Or Giro. Just quickly looking it up as we were going through this, and everyone's like, this literally could be lifted from a National Geographic. Like they could have stolen footage from a nature show. Like that's how well done it was. So I don't know. You know what? Here's how I'll say this in movie speak. The location felt like a character. There it is. Ah,
there you go. That's really good. That's smart and very film studies-y.
We're critics now.
We're critiques. So we're going to do A for cult factor?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
We always do.
This next one might get a little weird.
Yeah. So now that we've done all of our judgment categories, we have to move on to the D-roll. So the D-roll, for those who are uninitiated, is our last hat on a hat. We can just do what we want category. We decide if a movie is a cult classic, a B movie, grindhouse, or trash. And we won't hopefully ever bring you trash, but we could. We reserve the right
We shouldn't. Yeah, we reserve the accident. We try to screen the movies now after that Death Ship, no matter how much Eric loves it. But, yeah. So sorry if that ever happens.
I have thoughts.
Let's hear them.
So, there are different kinds of cult classic movies.
Okay.
There are the ones that are like a hidden gem. Like, my God, how have I never seen this? No one talks about this. That's
like Video Dead?
Your Video Dead. You're the Prowler.
Yeah.
You know, your Intruder. We felt that way about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's these things that no one talks about, but we bring them out. We help make them a part of bring them back into the light. Let the people bask in their glory. But then there's movies that are just like, this is silly and I'm having a fun time. As Freddie Mercury would say, I'm having a good time. I'm having a ball. And this is that kind of cult classic to me. Like, this isn't a great hidden horror movie that no one talks about, but it is out there and you can stream it anywhere. But the second that they did the watch out for the bears, and it cuts to the bear, I'm like, okay, I'm buckled in. Let's go. So I'm just kind of like, I would like to watch this with a group of people, and then we have a drinking game where we drink every time it cuts away to a different animal.
No way, dude. Yeah. There's no way.
Yes.
No way. That might be worse than the Zack and Miri one. There's no way, dude.
Probably the worst one we ever did in college was the John Rambo one. Remember
that one was horrible.
The Rambo one where every time he kills somebody you have to take a drink. And
that was rough.
But yeah, that's the kind of cult classic this is. It's not a secret hidden gem good movie. It's a silly get together with a group of people and just watch this happen. You will not believe what's going to happen. And there's plenty of lingering scenes of nonsense that if you have to run to the bathroom, do it. You're not going to miss anything.
Sure. I came into today thinking, it's probably a B movie. But as we discussed it more and just how wild the animal jump cuts are, I have to agree with you. I think everybody needs to see this at least once or twice in their life. I'm glad we can play that part and keep Tubi afloat by pushing really obscure mid-'80s horror movies, or I guess early '80s. I'm totally with you. I think this is an insane movie. And I know a lot of you don't watch these movies. It's 80 minutes. Just do yourself a favor. Just watch it. It is insane. Or some of the things that happen.
Or if you're with some friends at a get together and they're you want to throw something on? It's I got something you can throw on.
Right.
This is it. Just sit there and wait for the absurdity to happen around you.
You could pull a Steph and there's a giant group of us and it's hey, I know what we could watch. Sling Blade. Then he leaves. Literally before the opening credits stopped rolling, he was in a car and gone. So
that is not the same situation at all.
No,
but I did do that.
You should get your friends together. This is a good family Christmas movie kind of vibe.
Do not do that. Do
not do that.
Yeah. This is a cult classic, but not the hidden gem great horror movie one, but this is crazy. Get in here.
Yeah.
You got to see this. All right. Well,
I think we did it.
Yeah, that's part 1 of our Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon. But yeah, so we got it. 1 down. Next up, we've already announced it, but I'll remind everyone in case they forgot, is Maniac.
I'm pretty excited for this one.
Yeah, this one is a probably more of a regular classic. Yeah. Out of the 3 that we have for this year's Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon, it's probably the most well-known one. Was it William Lustig is the director? Came out in, I think, 1980, I want to say.
Yep, 1980.
Mm-hmm. It is streaming on, let me see. We got Fossum, Pluto, Roku channel, Tubi, obviously. So plenty of free options to watch Maniac. There's a pretty cool song by a band called Acid Witch about Maniac that I recommend. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty fun one. So yeah, 1980s Maniac. I have a t-shirt of it. It's going to be great. Do not watch the 2012 version with Elijah Wood. It is not good.
It's not?
No. Sorry to say.
It also has a show favorite working on the cast, and he's in the crew, or on the crew. He's also in the cast.
In this one?
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head who that is.
Tom Savini.
Oh, Tom Savini does do the work for this, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't remember that. Yeah, this is in between.
And he's in it. He's also in it as Disco Boy. So I'm pretty excited to see how Disco Boy fares against the Maniac.
It's always fun to see Tom Savini doing his acting roles, too.
Oh my God, dude. Him as Sex Machine is probably the funniest thing.
What about...
From Dusk Till Dawn?
That's good, but what about his character that would later become known as Blades from Dawn of the Dead? He's part of the biker gang. That's one.
That's a good one. Oh my God, I just saw the scene with him in it.
You clicked on it to watch it?
It was like a promo. It like runs a promo. Sometimes so I've heard this movie probably has some of the most insane kills next to The Prowler. So I'm pretty excited to stack them up against each other. So,
I mean, it's Tom Savini, so you know they're going to be good. This is one of those movies that, like, when it came out, it was accused of all the things you accuse this kind of movie of, like, like snuff film, like inciting violence, inciting like sexism, violence against women, all these things. It was a very big deal when this movie came out. They had a series of billboards they released in LA that were like public outcry against them. So yes, this was a big deal when it came out. It's kind of faded in recent years as movies became more gruesome and it didn't matter as much, but in my opinion, it holds up, but we'll see what we think when we have our next part of the Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon. But on that note, Shane, you want to close us up? So us back together here?
So us back together? Yeah, you've been tuning into the Dark Side Drive-In, which is our horror theme podcast where we cover movies from the 80s, sometimes 70s, sometimes 90s. You know, we do shout outs a lot, and I know Stefan has an important one, but again, we said this last time. Thank you to everybody for hanging in with us. We had a little hiatus, but we're back in full force. We should be posting episodes regularly, so you should get some new notifications, new downloads. It really helps us out if you can follow us on our socials. We're pretty active-ish on Instagram at the Dark Side Drive-In. And then we also have Facebook. We have a fan page Facebook and like a normal, like we have our own page that Stefan and I run. And then it really does help us if you share this with your friends, if you like it. If you don't like it, give us some feedback. Let us know what we could do differently that you think would make the show better. But, you know, we're having a blast doing this, and I hope you have fun with us along the way. So, yeah, thank you, everybody.
And as Shane alluded to, I do have my own shout out to do, which is to our friends Rebel Revolver for the use of our theme song. If you're local to the Pittsburgh area, they post on their socials about upcoming shows. I think that there's just a couple more, but there's about to be some more, I think, coming up here in August. And right around the time this episode is released, they're going to have a new music video dropped. So I think if things go according to plan, Shane, the day this episode is supposed to drop is supposed to be the same day they're going to have a music video, but we'll see how that
it stars a special someone, so you'll have to figure out who.
No, it doesn't star, but
star to me.
Yeah, someone on this podcast is in it,
and it's not me.
Yeah, I remember someone asked us like, "Hey, I think you might think you're in more scenes than you think you are." I was like, I was in 3 scenes. It's like, oh yeah, you are in the number of scenes you think you are. It's
the
like,
exact amount of scenes that you thought you were.
Yeah, like duh. Like I'm not. It's not a star-making turn, but I may or may not show up at one point.
And you're probably asking yourself, like, hey, we hear you talk about Rebel Revolver all the time and like where you can find them, but you might forget. Just a quick reminder: on every single episode, we put their link tree in our description. that you can click on. And if the link doesn't work, let me know, or just copy it, like click it and copy it into a browser, and it will take you right to where their cool stuff is. So check them out. They're cool guys.
Yeah, on a lot of social media platforms. They're on Spotify.
Yeah. Music's great. Like, our theme song is cool, but their other stuff is awesome too. So give it a listen.
Well, I think we've covered all of our bases for now.
I think we did.
For now.
I think we did a solid job at opening up our third. This is what's crazy to me. This is our third annual Summer Tri-Slash-A-Thon. And, like, if you would have told me, hey, you're going to do, what we're going on to year 3 of this, like, would you have believed it?
No.
Yeah.
I would assume I've been hit by a truck by now. Probably a Green Goblin truck.
Oh, no. I thought I would have been steamrolled after playing Little League Baseball, but we're getting away from...
We both would have been maximum overdriven for sure.
For sure. Oh, my God. Well, on that note, I think that's going to do it for us. I've been Shane.
I've been Stefan.
Keep it slashy?
We don't really have one for this. Yeah.
We didn't. Well, we could do, we go back to the pools out, ghouls out, because technically it is summer.
It is summer, yeah. Stay cooled and stay ghouled.
Yeah, that was good. Yes, bring it back.
Bring it back. We'll figure it out.
Yep. Bye.
Later.
He thought he was in control. How wrong he was.
Come to the dark side, driving. It's the dark side, driving. Come to the dark side, driving. It's the dark side, driving movie club. From Dynamis Media comes a horror cyclopedia. Watching movies from the gates of hell. Covers ripped from a blockbuster shell. Officer Bosch is the only good car. Jugs and the stuff just can't be stopped. Things get hairy in the werewolf's lair. Turn the corner and the prowler is there. It's the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club. Shane's the one who runs the show. He produces and keeps the flow. The Savini of the ones and twos. Only Jack Cordell has bigger shoes. Stefan does the bulk of the research. His descriptions just can't be besmirched. Lots of synopses are the club of lore. Just like lamps and you'll be begging for more. It's the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club.
From the deepest corner of the darkest universe, two brave hosts battle through nameless hordes of ghoulish monsters most foul, all to bring you the eternal glory of the dark side drive-in.
It's the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club.